doing this now. I was just checking this out. For those of you who are regulars, and God, we love the regs. And I know this is the part of the show where the chat room is usually at its thinnest. Here's why. One, typically I don't start straight at 12 o'clock, right? Usually it's like 12:03, 12:04. But anyway, so now that I've got you alone here, it's just you and me. What the heck is going on there? Oh, that's my own reminder. There we go. Hold on a second, guys. There we go. Remember, I changed. This is the problem with being me. I'm a proud member of Generation X, born the day we landed on the moon. I'm not afraid of my age, although everybody else seems to be. I changed the security on my phone. Like when you got we've all got smartphones. Who am I talking to? People with flip phones? No, come on. You have like a security code, thing like that. It used to be a drawing. Like I used to have to just use my finger and I'd have to make like a little thing. I changed it. I upgraded it to my fingerprint because I thought that would be like way sci-fi and cool and modern. And hey, I'm not old. And now it's just such a pain in the ass. And the other thing was so easier. It's like my kid, hey, get my phone and see who texted me. My kid is like, I can't do it because there's a fingerprint. I mean, everything, this is what I say about technology. Just because something is possible doesn't mean it should be. Just because we can do something. I mean, we have applications on our phone that do things that we already had things to do those things for. Anyway, that's not what this show is about. This is not a list of grievances by an old white man. No. What this is quite contrary. This is a daily stream of consciousness. That's right. That's what you're going to get from me. Yours truly, Pugs Moran, for 2 hours. No commercials, no traffic, no music, no breaks, no nothing. Short of the FBI kicking in the door or possibly maybe the dog needing to make a tinkle. I will not leave you for the next 2 hours, and I'm not going to shut up. And that might be a good or a bad thing. But here's the thought. I'm not just going to be sitting here, blah, 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 blah. This show serves a purpose. This is the High Noon Report. What do we do here? We take all of the day's hot topics, headlines, current events, trends, whatever it is that people are talking about. I wake up very early to do this, and I begin compiling a list. And I take this list, and then I present it to you at noon. And I say, this is what this is what America is talking about. And we try and do it every day. And it's a style of radio that I truly miss. It doesn't exist anymore. What are the things that we know for certain on this show? Here, one thing we know for certain. I'm going to make up words. That's right. Sometimes throughout the course of this stream of consciousness, I'll make up words. We're compiling a dictionary in the chat room. And I thank you, Chater. Chaters. There you go. A new word. The plural of chat. I think that already exists as chatters. Anyways, what this show is, I just said anyways, like I was a kid. Anyhoozle, what this show is a presentation of all the day's news, all the day's topics. I'm going to tell you why it's trending or why it's making a headline or why they're yelling about it on TV. Then I'm going to give you my hot take, and then we're going to move on. And it's boom, 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 boom. What don't we do? What is the other thing we know about this show for certain? We don't get bogged down in politics. We don't do politics. I think politics has ruined talk radio, community talk radio, local talk radio, has been absolutely destroyed by issues that don't even concern our immediate area. And I hate it. So that's what this is. If you support that kind of non-divisive, I don't care how you voted. You shouldn't care how I do, but I know many of you do. But I don't tell anybody that stuff. Why? Because it's nobody's business. Let's go back to that. This is talk radio where we go through all of the things that are not put out in front of us to intentionally divide us. Although some of these things will divide us because we have fun with a lot of stuff, right? All right. High Noon Report. That's what the show is if you're just joining us. How do we get there? Well, at some point over the next 2 hours, we're going to run down all the hot topics, current events, headlines, and trends. But before we do, what I do is I like to go back in time. I like to set the plate. I like to figure out if there are any rhythms, any patterns to this day. We do a segment that we call on the show, Erstwhile on This Day. And it's all the events that happen. Not all of them. What are you, crazy? Just the ones that I find interesting, that I think might predict some of the things that we may encounter in the coming hours. Again, patterns and rhythms and all of that stuff is what we're looking for here in the news. So we go through the day's events. Erstwhile on this day. Then we do the birthdays. We talk about people born on this day, and then we go through the passings. Okay, so after we've done that, after we've covered what this day has been, then I feel that we can move forward with a clear conscience and a true hope to understand the events that we're going to talk about as they pertain to this particular day. And what is that day? It is August the 16th, year of our Lord 2023. And you got the High Noon Report with me, Pugs Moran. Did you know this is the 228th day of the year? There are 137 more of these bad boys until we do it all again. And as we like to say around here, how many days? What do we got? 137 days remaining until the end of the year. Chat room, let me hear you in unison. Get those New Year's Eve plans started. There you go. Okay, let's move on to erstwhile on this day. What do you say? Erstwhile on this day, erstwhile, fancy way of saying previously on. So this is like previously on August the 18th, on this day in 1570. And I'm only going to this one. I'm giving you this one just as a little bit of a, an hors d'oeuvre. Or do you say hors d'oeuvre? The Principality of Transylvania is established after John II Zapolya renounces his claim as King of Hungary. This occurred during the Treaty of Spire. Now, the only reason I mention this today first is because until this morning when I read this, I don't think I thought Transylvania was a real place. I don't think I did. I think I thought Transylvania was a made-up place supposed to represent some Eastern European remote mountainous medieval duchy type thing. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was made up, like on Dynasty. When everybody, remember on the show Dynasty, they got married to like the king of Moldavia or something like that. But I think there is a Moldavia. Whatever it was, they made up a country. I thought that's what Transylvania was. I thought it was a made up country. The Peter Sellers, what was it, Groucho Marx movie? What was that movie where they made up a country? I don't know, whatever. I thought it was a made up country. Apparently Transylvania is real. So how about that? Good for you, citizens of Transylvania. Don't know if it's still around. Don't think it is. Maybe there's a town. On this day in 1927, and this is a big one. I want you to put a pin in this. Well, actually, you don't have to because we're going to cover it all in one fell swoop. On this day in 1927, the Dole Air Race begins. Now, what is the Dole Air Race? 1927. The Dole Air Race was a race between Oakland, California, and Honolulu, Hawaii. Get it? Dole pineapples. Making sense. Early 1920s branding. So here's the deal with this race. I guess it was a big feat to be able to fly from, I guess, right? This is what we take for granted. I guess it was a big feat. Such a big feat that 8 planes took off on the Dole Air Race on this day in 1927, headed for Honolulu, and only 2 made it. The other ones either crashed or went missing, like are vanished. Like, that's crazy. Think about that. Okay, so that was on this day, 1927. Hey, airplanes are new. And, the first thing, big air race, first thing had like 80%, 90%. What is that? What is 6 of 8? I don't know. Math people, math nerds in the chat room. What percentage of the people who participated in that race died? Okay, so that was 1927. Now, in 1944, a number of years later, the birth of the jet airplane. The first jet airplane is flown. Well, technically it says it's like the first jet airplane with jet wings or whatever it says. Hold on, guys. Give me a second here. My Google Drive just signed me out. Why? Because, it just, I'd only been using it fairly consistently every 2 seconds for the last 5 hours. Why wouldn't Google think I'm done working? Okay, so 1944, the first flight of a jet with forward swept wings. Okay, so we got that. So now we're in the jet age. 1927, we had this air race. Hey, let's go to Hawaii from California. Nobody makes it. Okay, 2 people make it. 6 died or went missing. Then 1944, hey, let's do that same kind of stuff, but with a jet engine. And then, so the jet engine is now a thing in 1944. So remember that. So it started off with this horrible air race where all these planes crashed. The jet age on this day. This is what I'm getting to. What is going on with the jet age on this day? Well, in previous incarnations of this show, years ago, I used to do a rundown every day of the plane crashes because I was amazed at how on any single day of the year, you could find significant numbers of plane crashes all around the world. We stopped doing it because I'm already not a good flyer. And every day it was so gory. But this day, folks, if you are don't fly on August the 16th, because here's why. Although the jet engine was invented on this day, and here's the problem. All of these crashes occurred in what I would consider to be the modern age of air travel. 1987 on this day, Northwest Airlines Flight 255 of McDonnell Douglas crashes after takeoff in Detroit, Michigan, killing 154 people. On this day in 1991, Indian Airlines Flight 257, a Boeing 737, crashes during approach to Imperial Airport, killing 69 people on board. They had some survivors there. That's good. On this day in 2005, West Caribbean Airways Flight 708, a McDonnell Douglas MD-82, crashes in Venezuela, killing all 160 people on board. Oh, but we're not done yet, folks. On this day in 2015, Trigana Air Flight. Okay, this sounds bad. Like, because African Airlines, I'm always worried about like Eastern European Airlines, sketchy like Far Asian Airlines and African Airlines. Those are scary. Those, because it's like what's this all about? What is this business model? Right? I don't feel I have to do that with United and American. The upsell on the bags kind of tell me that they want me they want me to spend. Trigana Air Flight 267 crashes in the Bintang Mountains. Didn't even know what that is. 154 people on board. So this is not a good day to travel, is all I'm saying. I used to do it every day where there'd be like one or two air crashes. This day, and this is not like in 1920. Sure, in the beginning, the first one, 1927, the Dole Air Race. But that was just the ordeal over. That was just me setting the plate. Then I told you about how we invented in 1944 the jet engine on this day, and jet planes became a thing on this day. And then I just listed for you a whole crap ton of stuff that occurred in the modern age of air flight. All of those crashes that I just listed occurred after I'd graduated high school. So, it's like not a good day to fly is my point. On this day, or we should say erstwhile on this day, in 1954, the very first issue of Sports Illustrated is published. Sports Illustrated, man. You know what they did? You know what happened with Sports Illustrated? I'm going to tell you a little secret. They got old. They kept promoting to decision level management people who had been with the company since this day in 1954. And by the time the digital era swept in, all of the guys, all the managers that were making decisions at Sports Illustrated were like 70. And they're like, what? People are going to look at things on their phone? I think not. So Sports Illustrated got their ass handed to them. That's what happens. Man, every time, you're working at a place and you see that they're promoting some young executive, he's 35 and he's vice president of Asian commodity or whatever it is. Yeah, it's because young people, man, I'm sorry to say it. Look, you don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to say it because I'm a Gen X, 50-something-year-old guy. I know the world is different now. Oh, geez, here we go. Hey, that's fun. My TV just turned on. So I always complain about smart TVs and how they completely suck. I turned on the TV 14 minutes ago. 14 minutes for the TV to come on. Yeah. So I know you're cutting the cord. It's 14 minutes for the app to load. That's all it took. So I know we're all cutting the cord. I did. But man, if I could just go back to those days of sitting on the couch with like a couple hundred channels and just click, 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 and everything's just going so fast. Not now. Hey, I answer the phone. Hey, put on CNN real quick. Okay, sure. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen anymore. So anyway, Sports Illustrated, they got old. That's what happened. They got passed up. I mean, it used to be Sports Illustrated. Now it's ESPN. And how long is it ESPN? Barstool's coming, or whatever. If it's not Barstool, it'll be something. On this date in 2008, in my hometown, Chicago, the Trump International Hotel and Tower is topped off at 1,389 feet, at the time becoming the world's highest residence above ground level. Whoo, baby, let me tell you something about Trump Tower, Chicago. You say what you will about that man, and there is plenty to be said, or so I have heard, relentlessly from everyone all the time. That man makes a beautiful building. That man, Trump Tower in Chicago, is a magnificent architectural structure. It is gorgeous. I think there's like now somewhere in Dubai that's on an apartment building. It's a little bigger. But man, when you think about cool now, the people in Chicago don't like the fact that, look, the guy, we know what he is. He likes to look at me. He's a bigger than life guy. So people in Chicago don't like that, Trump is written on the building like in 5-story letters. That's kind of a problem for him. But hey, it's who the guy is, right? We know that. On this day in 2020, the August complex fire in California burns more than 1 million acres of land. This is do we remember? I do. I remember this. This was like the really bad California ones 3 years ago. Maui, of course, is going through that now. Arizona goes through it. We go through it here. We go through it here in North Texas. It's Mother Nature. She's tricky. Births. Let's move into the segment of the show that we like to call birthdays. Don't have any music rights, so I get to sing. Want 'em. Today is their birthday. Want 'em. Born on this day in 1928. Here's a weird one because I went down the Gen X rabbit hole on this chick a couple days ago because she just died a couple days ago. She died a couple days before her birthday. And I think maybe we mentioned it. And I'm talking about the weirdly famous Edie Gourmet, born on this day. Stephen Edie. Remember we did a whole segment about what was that about? Like who was Stephen Edie? Like why when we were 10 years old, were we watching? Why at 10 did I know Stephen Edie's whole act? That should not have been a thing. I wasn't raised by gay men, I don't know everybody in the 70s. We just had to watch what was on. We only had 3 channels, and I became very familiar with Stephen Edie, born on this day, Edie Gourmet, 1928, born on this day in 1930. Put a pin in this one, people. I tell you to put a pin. I say, remember I mentioned it. On this day in 1930, born Frank Gifford, American football player, sportscaster. Did some acting. Handsome guy, man. Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford. I like Frank Gifford. I know that people are like, I don't like Kathy Lee. I'm like, well, what don't you like about Kathy Lee? She's a little bit, in Spinal Tap parlance, she goes to 11 kind of all the time. But, she's fine. She seems like publicly, she seems like a nice lady. Privately, we know how these people are. This is mine, not yours. Like I always say about Hollywood celebrity, it's fine to like them on the big screen, but you don't want to go on a cross-country road trip with them where you're like in the back seat with them. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way, I've had a change on this. So I always look at celebrities and I think, do I like them? And then I don't go, could I have a beer with them? Because, when you're drinking, you could probably get along with anybody. Here's the true test. Just like another true test, life hack, true test. If a woman says she can cook, have her make you a meatloaf. Just a meatloaf, just a simple meatloaf. Because I'm tired. I've dated women. I can cook. I'm like, yeah, make me a meatloaf. And it sucks. I'm like, if you can't do it anyway, other life rule that I adhere to, I determine whether or not I like a celebrity. If I can imagine myself having fun with them in the back seat of a car on a long road trip, right? And I wanted to change this because I'm glad I brought it up. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and a Chicago Bear fan. Hopefully one day soon that will be tested, playoff round. Hopefully we shall see. Oh God, that's going to be such a problem for me and my kid. Anyway, so Aaron Rodgers, right? I'm a Bear fan, so I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate his guts, man. Mad respect for him, right? Like totally. Yeah. He oh God. Like there hasn't been, first of all, between Aaron Rodgers, as a Bears fan, between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, there hasn't been a game where we've had a lead in the fourth quarter where I haven't wanted to vomit. Because they're gonna win. They've got Aaron Rodgers, or before that, Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers, I've changed on. Are you guys watching Hard Knocks on HBO? Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jet, is one of my favorite people on the planet. I mean, I don't know if he's putting on an act for the cameras because he knows that his reputation is taking some hits. The Green Bay Packers certainly created a narrative that said that he was fairly standoffish and arrogant, difficult, if you will. We're not seeing that with the New York Jets. So I think a couple weeks back, I think I said, maybe a couple of months back, I think I mentioned that I couldn't ride in a car with Aaron Rodgers. He'd drive me nuts. No, I think now me and Aaron Rodgers would have a great time. God, he's so freaking likable on Hard Knocks. I hate it as a Bears fan. All right. It's Frank Gifford's birthday. That's how we started talking. The GIF. Again, put a pin in it. We'll revisit him later. How about this one? How about Julie Newmar? Julie Newmar is celebrating a birthday today. Some of you youngers, you might not know who Julie Newmar is. Well, I'm here to tell you. Julie Newmar is an all-timer. Julie Newmar is my Catwoman. She was the original Catwoman on the Batman series. She is celebrating a birthday today. And if you don't know who Julie Newmar is, I am here to tell you, boom, there she is. Look at her. Not only is she my Catwoman, because I was a little kid, but she is basically the template. I mean, I think one of them went a totally different direction, but she's the template for the cattiness. For Catwoman, the character that she was cast to play was not supposed to be the seductress that Julie Newmar made the Catwoman. The Catwoman, Julie Newmar brought the idea that, you've got her being all like gymnasticsy and all of this kind of stuff because you see cats jumping on things and from levels to level. She goes, that's not the most obvious trait that I see in a cat. And they said, oh, Julie, what's the most obvious trait that you see in a cat? And she said, cats want to seduce you. And they went, whoa. And she created the Catwoman character as a seductress. Now, I don't know. Maybe she was portrayed that way in the comics. I'm not a big comics fan. But the TV show, the original TV show, they didn't really want that. They didn't want the sexiness because they thought it would be a kid's show. And so she's like, no, she's like, I can do it. And let me tell you, as like a little kid who watched Catwoman the Seductress, it worked. It was good. Good stuff. Happy birthday, Julie Newmar, celebrating today. She was born on this day in 1933. Still alive, too. Good for her. Born on this day in 1945, a character actor named Bob Balaban. You guys, if you want to Google him really quick, he'll pop up and you'll go, I know that dude. He's one of that dudes. He's interesting because for like a good decade, he played essentially Warren Littlefield. Now, who's Warren Littlefield? Warren Littlefield was the president of NBC programming. He took over for a guy named Brandon Tartikoff. And it started out with Seinfeld. Whenever Seinfeld had to deal with the network bigwigs or whatever, Seinfeld, you know how the show Seinfeld was like a show about the show, that whole thing. So in the show Seinfeld, whenever Seinfeld was negotiating to get the show Seinfeld on NBC, he would meet with the NBC bosses, and Bob Balaban played Warren Littlefield. He also would play Warren Littlefield again, I think, in The Late Shift, which was a movie about NBC. He just looked like Warren Littlefield. Hey, he's a great actor, though. He's good. Like I said, did you Google him? Did you see him? Did you go, oh, yeah, I know the guy. Born on this day in 1945, Bob Balaban. Born on this day in 1947, Carol Moseley Braun, American lawyer and politician, United States ambassador to New Zealand. She's also a senator. That's like her greatest accomplishment. Carol Moseley Braun, I think, was the first. I don't know if she was the first female senator. I know she was the first black female senator. Carol Moseley Braun. Born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1953. Now, I told you to put a pin in Frank Gifford, right? Frank Gifford, born on this day in 1930. Yeah. Okay. Frank Gifford, born on this day in 1930. His wife, Kathy Lee, was born on this day in 1953. 23-year age difference. He's Gifford, man. Seriously, if you knew who Gifford was, like if you knew who Gifford was in the 60s, you'd understand. He's kind of he was like an A-Rod. He was, he was good looking, played for the New York Football Giants, So his wife, do you think that's like one of the first things that like kind of sealed the deal? Because Kathy Lee Gifford was an attractive young woman when Frank Gifford met her. And I think she was doing like AM Los Angeles or something. She was on TV, but she wasn't, the national Kathy Lee. But do you think like that was one of the early things? When's your birthday? Mine too. Let's get married. So I bet that was a deal sealer. Born on this day in 1953. I think the misconstrued Kathy Lee Gifford, we'll call her. Born on this day in 1953. James Taylor. No No, not that James Taylor. This is a different James Taylor who also has a crap ton of gold records and all kinds of money. I'm talking about James J.T. Taylor, lead singer of Kool and the Gang. Man, Kool and the Gang. I got really into Kool and the Gang. Well, first of all, they were everywhere when you're a kid. I mean, I liked going to the roller skating rink. So I heard everything Kool and the Gang ever did at the roller skating rink. But then, like when I was in my 30s, I got into this real R&B, this 70s, 80s R&B disco on the edge of hip hop. You know, like right around the Cameo stuff. Word up, like I got deep into that kind of genre for a period of time, and I rediscovered Kool and the Gang. They were amazing. You know who else were amazing? The Commodores and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those, seriously, if you just want to go and do a deep dive into just really cool, like entry level, late 70s, 80s pop funk, that's who I would send you to. You're not ready for Parliament. You're not. So don't even think about it. Start out with a little Earth, Wind, and Fire, some Kool and the Gang, some Commodores. Commodores are very approachable because it's Lionel Richie. And you're like, oh, I know that guy. Happy birthday, James J.T. Taylor, lead singer of Kool and the Gang. Born on this day in 1953. Born on this day in 1954. A guy that I have a complicated relationship with, as I have complicated relationships with a lot of people. James Cameron. Director James Cameron. He's like the most successful director of all time. He's like responsible for three of the top three, 1, 2, and 3 largest grossing films of all time. But we're not going to do a James Cameron draft. We're not. Because first of all, his filmography is fairly small. James Cameron doesn't do a lot of films. The ones he does do the business of 100 films, that's for sure. But he doesn't really do a lot. So let me just quickly look at I can give you James Cameron's entire filmography. And I say I have a complicated relationship with him because his biggest films are films that I have either railed on for years as being so overrated or just never flat out seen. Like, I'll give you the two that I rant on that are overrated. Titanic, terrible. I thought it was a movie about people hitting an iceberg. It turned out to be 2 hours of some class struggle. I didn't want that. And a love story and a stupid, Romeo and Juliet knockoff love story. I was watching the movie with my girl and I couldn't handle it anymore. I said, look, you come get me when they're close to hitting the iceberg. That's what I want to watch. I'll be in the lobby playing Zaxxon. They had a Zaxxon game, a big stand-up Zaxxon game. And they were rare back then. You didn't see them much. Now you see them because they're retro. But back then, you had a Zaxxon. It was probably an original. So I played Zaxxon for the whole, I love you, Rose. Ugh. The other one is Avatar. My God, I started all the hype on Avatar. Oh, you've got to see Avatar. And I went and watched it, and I'm like, what is this, a cartoon? What am I watching? Is this The Little Mermaid meets the worst aspects of Star Wars? What are we watching here? So I bailed on Avatar, the original Avatar, the largest grossing film. I bailed on it in 30 minutes. I'm like, nope. Now, those are his biggest films. They made him all his money. James Cameron, happy birthday. That's who we're talking about. He's got some bangers, though, guys. Some undeniable bangers. In 1984, dude made The Terminator. Come on. 1986, dude made Aliens. Not Alien. He took over. He did Aliens. And, arguably as good, if not better than the original James Cameron's Aliens in 1986. The Abyss in 1989. I love The Abyss. That was the one. The Abyss got us Titanic, though. That's where he discovered his love. During The Abyss is where James Cameron discovered and really keyed into his love of underground stuff. So The Abyss was successful. And then we had to sit through Titanic because James Cameron had some stuff to work out. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, great movie. True Lies, great movie. And then from 97 on, I think he's made some really awful, boring, self-centered choices. He's done Titanic, Avatar, The Way of Water, Avatar 3 in 2025, and Avatar 4 in 2029. I don't care about that. You know what? He's like one of those bands, when people like bands and then they get really popular and then somebody will be like, oh, do you like band X? And they're like, well, I liked him before he was popular. That's kind of how I am with Cameron. Although he was popular with Terminator. And moving on, James Cameron celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday today, a lady we could spend a whole lot of time on, but we won't because we just spent way too much time on James Cameron. Madonna. Madonna is having a birthday. Madonna was born on this day in 1958. We wish her a speedy recovery. And Madonna, baby, I'm Gen X. Okay, you're like one of my queens, right? I know I was never really into you, although Like a Prayer is such a good song. But Madonna, stop with the attempts to slow your aging process. Stop. I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? Madonna, you could be Betty White. You could be bigger than Betty White. You could be like, if you just age, look at Helen Mirren. Look at what Helen Mirren has done and how she has aged. Madonna, you can have this. Stop. And we wish you well. Born on this day in 1958. Born on this day also in 1958, Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett, actress. What did she do? I know she's an attractive woman, and I know she's a well-regarded actress. I don't know. Anyway, born on this day in 1960, celebrating a birthday here. This is one of my guys. I like this guy. But got a soft spot. I like this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1960 to Timothy Hutton. Yeah. You better believe we're going to do a Timothy Hutton draft. He's one of my guys. Timothy Hutton draft. Here's what we do. We take a person, in this case, Timothy Hutton, and we treat him like his works, his films, his body of work, his filmography is an incoming NFL draft class. So what we do is we look at all of his films and we draft them. We go 1 through 5. The first one being, of course, the number 1 pick. That's the best one, right? We don't descend. We don't go, we'll give you his 5 best movies starting at 5. Vote. And we don't do that. We give you the best one out front, just like the NFL draft does. So if you're ready, let's get into our Timothy Hutton draft. Timothy Hutton, first and foremost, the number 1 pick off the board is a movie that at any opportunity I get to discuss it, I will discuss it with you. It is okay. So I don't know what it was, but these 2 movies came out roughly the same time, and they affected me in this like crazy way where I love these movies. I've seen both of these movies easily 20 times plus. I absolutely love them. One of them is Wonder Boys, which doesn't have anything to do with this. Wonder Boys, Michael Douglas, Tobey Maguire, I don't know, a bunch of other people. Wonderful movie. God, I love that movie. When I get into like a weird space, a weird headspace, I have a number of movies that I can pop in that'll get me right. Wonder Boys is one of them. The other one is our first pick. The other one is our first pick in the Timothy Hutton draft. It's probably not one of his biggest films. It's not one that most people know, but this movie crushed me. This movie made me want to write. And I write constantly. You'll never see it. Again, after I die, hopefully someone maybe crack my Google Drive. You'll be like, wow. But the way this story played out, oh my God. And I'm talking about a film called Beautiful Girls. Beautiful Girls. If you haven't seen it, it's tremendous, man. I think it's a guy movie. And Beautiful Girls, it's not like, it's a bunch of guys at a strip club. That's not it. It's not it. Timothy Hutton plays a guy, a grown man who leaves his small town and he goes to New York City to become a big musician. He was like the best musician in a small town. It hasn't really worked out for him. He comes back for Christmas and he's hanging out in his town. He's partying with his old high school buddies again, seeing all the people he went to high school with. That's what the movie's about. It is fantastic. And I'll tell you one other aspect of this film that is incredibly important, because I don't think it would be as memorable to me personally without this. It's the first time that Natalie Portman appeared on a film screen and just slayed the room. She plays the new next door neighbor to Timothy Hutton's childhood house. Timothy Hutton. Remember, he goes home to his childhood house from New York. And there's a new neighbor next door. It's a new family. It's the next generation of the neighborhood. And there's a young girl, a 12-year-old girl named Teddy, who lives next door. And she is incredible. So number 1 off the board in the Timothy Hutton draft, we're going with Beautiful Girls. Number 2, Taps. Oh, Tom Cruise is a little 5'1" hard ass. Taps. I love Taps. Woo! Taps was about a military academy and the students at the military academy taking forcible control, January 6th style, of the revered military academy. George C. Scott's in it. He plays the general, not Patton, but he plays the general. So good. Taps is great. Not as good as Beautiful Girls, but Taps flips another switch in me. Love it. Number 3. Whew, there are a couple of films that I have to really be in a certain. I love them, but I have to be in a real certain mind place with it. One of them I don't even commit to memory the name. It's the Jim Carrey movie about erasing memories, like the unbearable something of something of something. Not the unbearable lightness of being. No, it's like the whatever. It's a Jim Carrey movie. Like once every 7 years, I have to watch it because I get to like this place. This one, number 3 off the board in the Timothy Hutton draft, is like that for me as well. Ordinary People. Ordinary People. Oh my God! Have you guys ever seen Ordinary People? Best film at the 1980 Oscars. Timothy Hutton, I think, won an Oscar, was nominated. Mary Tyler Moore, Donald Sutherland, about a family dealing with a suicide. I'm like 10 years old, and I'm obsessed with Ordinary People. Not a single adult in my worldview thought to be concerned by that. 10 years old. And if you know what Ordinary People's about, you're like, why is our 10-year-old obsessed with the story of... Anyway, probably has a lot to do with why I'm depressed now as an adult. My love of Ordinary People. I can't watch it. I can't watch it, though. Hey, by the way, did the chat room come up with that Jim Carrey movie? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's it. Thank you, Adam. I knew I could count on someone like Adam. That movie wrecks me. That movie. But so does Ordinary People. It's like Ordinary People and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. 2 movies that I will tell you absolutely must watch, but I ain't going to watch it with you. I can't. Melancholia is the other one. Melancholia is such a good movie. Kirsten Dunst. The first time, I always thought Kirsten Dunst was like just disposable. And then I saw Melancholia and I'm like, holy cow, she's a great actress. And in like the 15 years since Melancholia, Kirsten Dunst has done nothing but like award-worthy work. She's like a majorly talented actress. And I used to think she was just some stupid little blonde girl. Melancholia, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Ordinary People. 3 movies that I will tell you all to watch, but I ain't going to watch it with you. Number 4 in the Timothy Hutton draft, The Falcon and the Snowman. Remember that one? Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn. They were spies. It was a true story. It was about 2 like Southern California beach bum dudes who like become Soviet spies or somehow like tied into the Soviet. Falcon and the Snowman. That was cool. Number 5, the last one off the Timothy Hutton draft, is a film you've never seen. And I put in, look, we're going to invite a bunch of Timothy Hutton movies to camp because he's done a whole bunch, especially in the 80s. So they're going to get free agent invites. I used the 5th pick on a film you've never seen. It's called Deterrence. It is such a great movie. Deterrence is a small little indie film. The entire film takes place in a snowbound diner in the Colorado Rockies. And Deterrence is the story of the President of the United States, played by Kevin Pollak. President of the United States is campaigning. Super Tuesday is coming up. And he's campaigning in Colorado. And this big giant snow blizzard comes in. And so the president's motorcade has to stop at this little diner in this Rocky Mountain village. And they get snowed in. And so it's the president, his chief of staff. Timothy Hutton plays the chief of staff. It's the president, his chief of staff. And, you know, the few people that were hanging out at this diner as the snowstorm descended upon this town. It is so good. It is so good. How would the president intermingle with a diner cook for 12 hours? I don't know. It's very, very good. Rod Lurie, or is it Rod Lurie? I think it's Rod Lurie. Rod Lurie, who is a terrific screenwriter, wrote Deterrence. Love that film. That's number 5. All right, the top 5 picks in the Timothy Hutton draft. 1, Beautiful Girls. 2, Taps. 3, Ordinary People. 4, Falcon and the Snowman. Number 5, Deterrence. But we are going to invite some people to camp. That's right. Turk 182. Come on down. Remember Turk 182? I like that movie. Everybody's All-American. Come on down. Good football movie. Q&A, law movie. Good movie. At the Dark Half. We'll invite the Dark Half. Do you remember the Dark Half where he was like good, but also bad? I think you had to have been shopping in video stores in the 1990s to know that movie. But anyway, I saw it. I liked it. The Dark Half, Timothy Hutton. That concludes our Timothy Hutton draft. Also celebrating a birthday today. By the way, Timothy Hutton, born on this day in 1960. Born on this day in 1962, Steve Carell, American actor, producer, Brown's Chicken endorsement guy. I love Steve Carell. Who doesn't love Steve Carell, right? The Office. How is that not a top 5 television sitcom character of all time? Michael Scott is right there with Archie Bunker and Mary Tyler Moore. You can't make that argument. You can't push back on that. Michael Scott, The Office, groundbreaking. But see, those of us who lived and grew up in Chicago, we knew Steve Carell way before that because Steve Carell was in all the Brown's Chicken commercials. Brown's Chicken is a. We also had this thing with Shelley Long on Cheers. So Shelley Long sold furniture on Chicagoland TV for like a decade before she became the chick on Cheers. But yeah, Steve Carell's like that too. He was the Brown's Chicken guy. He wore a little Brown's Chicken hat. Hey, come on down to Brown's Chicken, and we've got the best on Brown. It was that kind of thing. So happy birthday to you, Steve Carell. You're kind of an awesome actor and really funny. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Steve Carell, born on this day in 1962, 1975. Born on this day, 1975. Taika Waititi. Y'all know how much I love Taika. Oh my God, this guy, first of all, comedy writer, amazing. Comedy performer, amazing. Improv artist, amazing. Sketch comedy guy, amazing. Collaborative presence for everybody from, no, I went blank on the names. Anyway, Taika Waititi is probably, in my opinion, the most exciting new director. And I'm calling him a new director because, quite frankly, I'm older and I have more of a perspective. So someone that's only been doing it about 10 years on the grand stage is still a new director, you 20-year-old who doesn't get... He's been doing it for 10 years. Yeah, Spielberg's been doing it for 70, okay? Or however long. Taika Waititi. I'll tell you, Paul Thomas Anderson and Taika, they get a new movie coming out. I'm first in line. What is the best of the Taika movies? Easily Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit, man. Woo, that's another one of them. I slide Jojo Rabbit right up there with Beautiful Girls and Wonder Boys. Movies that I want to feel good. I want to have hope. I want to laugh a little. Those are them. Born on this day in 1975. Born on this Taika Waititi. I don't speak native New Zealander. I don't know that. I hope I'm not totally pronounced. I've heard it pronounced that way, so that's what I go with. Born on this day in 1986. Here's one I have no trouble pronouncing because he's been in my life for at least 15 years. Yu Darvish is celebrating a birthday today. Yu Darvish was with me here when he was with the Texas Rangers, and then I moved back to Chicago, and he came with me and joined the Cubs, and Yu Darvish was everywhere. Yu Darvish, happy birthday. I like him. I like that. I like him. He's a good kid. No, I mean, I like his presence. I like the way he carried himself. I remember when he came here to the Rangers, and I'm like, so he's half Iranian and he's half Japanese. Man, this is going to be a culture shock for this dude. I don't know which culture, Iranian, Persian, or Japanese he leans on more, but neither of them are Texas. So I hope he fits in, and he did. He did great. Yu Darvish. Born on this day in 1986. Born on this day in 1988, Rumor Willis. A woman that was named as a bit. Yeah, that's her. She was named as a bit. They named her Rumor because for months before she was born, it was a secret that Demi Moore and Bruce Willis were having a baby. And so there were all these rumors about it. And so Rumor Willis, they named her Rumor. What's her sister? Tallulah? They were weird names before weird names were not cool, acceptable, common, before weird names were common. Born on this day in 1948, oh no, I'm sorry. These are the deaths. All right, that's it. Yeah, that's the birthdays. There you go. We're going to end with Rumor Willis, daughter of Demi Moore and Bruce Willis. Now let's go through some deaths. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Do we care? That's the question that we ask because, everybody dies and there's a lot of buttholes out there. So, Do we care? We can't care about everybody who dies. Dead on this day in 1948 is a big one. I will say this. There were some big ones, man. Some pretty fairly significant passings. And in the modern age. Not like, we're not going to go back to like, on this day, Shakespeare died. No, we're not going all the way back. But on this day in 1948, the first African-American baseball player, first African-American Major League Baseball player, first African-American to play in the major leagues, died on this day. Of course, I'm talking about Babe Ruth. Look it up. I'm telling you, look it up. Look it up. That's like, look, I don't do the QAnon stuff, but I do fun stuff. I do fun conspiracy theories. Not scary ones, not weird ones, not, nothing that's going to make me buy a plane ticket to Washington. Fun conspiracy theories. Like, and I don't even know if it's a conspiracy, but that Babe Ruth was at least half black. Born on this day or dead on this day in 1948. Do we care about Babe Ruth? Yes, of course we do. What are you, not an American? You don't care about Babe Ruth? Ugh. Dead on this day in 1956. Bela Lugosi. Okay, all right. So Bela Lugosi is a very big name from that era of Hollywood. Who was Bela Lugosi? He was the monster guy. He played all the monsters. There was like Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi in like, I don't know. And then Vincent Price was like the normal guy. But Bela Lugosi and the other guy, who did I say? Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff was Frankenstein. He invented that whole thing. He was like the first guy to do that kind of depiction of Frankenstein that we all imagine. Do we care about Bela Lugosi? Hold on. Is he the guy that inspired all those Warner Brother cartoons? Like there was like a Bela Lugosi character. He was like a character in Warner Brother cartoon. Sure was. Yep. He's the creepy guy who talks like these. Oh no! Why did I make that Hispanic? I didn't even make that Hispanic. That just came out. Apparently, turns out I can't do a Bela Lugosi, which is fine because I don't see that imitation being all that handy into 2023. All right, Bela Lugosi. We care. Yeah, we care. He played scary things. He scared kids. That's a bad thing. No, he didn't scare. He thrilled kids, and thrills are good. So there you go. Yeah, we care. Bela Lugosi, dead on this day in 1956. Dead on this day in 1977. I'm going to just... Hold on, excuse me. I'm just gonna preemptively say we probably care. Elvis Presley died on this day in 1977. Yeah, we absolutely care. Elvis Presley. I, of course, as you know, I'm not the biggest Elvis Presley fan in the world, but I recognize his significance and I understand his cultural impact. So absolutely, as an American, hey, I'm going to yell at you for being a bad American for not caring about Babe Ruth. You better care about Elvis Presley. That's all I'm saying. By the way, that Elvis movie, so good. So good. I don't know if I'll watch it again, but so good. Like, I thought it was going to be, oh, man, is this like an Elvis biopic? Is it going to really give me a story? Or is it going to be like that god-awful Rocket Man? You remember Rocket Man, the story of Elton John, which was just, I only got like 20 minutes into it. It was so bad. I'm like, this is a musical? Elton John is an interesting person. I want to see a movie about him. Give him the Freddie Mercury treatment. Although don't, because I think that Freddie Mercury movie was way overrated. God, I didn't love that movie. I wanted to love that movie. I was like, it's all right. It was kind of interesting. Nothing really new. Learned about how the teeth, he's got a big mouth because he's got more teeth. I learned some stuff from it, but anyway. Elvis Presley, dead on this day. Of course, this would be a time where I would tell you that it would have been on this day in 1995. So what is that? So that is 25, 26, 27, 28. This is the 28th anniversary of yours truly being banned for life. No, wait a second. Hold on. 77, 87, 97. It was 97. It was 97. So it was 1997 because I was covering for the radio station that I worked for in Chicago. I was covering the 20th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death. And there was a very big event going on at Graceland. And this is where I did my stupid shock jock stunt and got banned for life from Graceland on this day 26 years ago. And yeah, we still care. We still look, Elvis, we care that you passed. Talk to your people. Talk to your people about letting your boy back in. I want to see the jungle room, my man. I never got to the jungle room. I cannonballed into a swimming pool. That's why I got banned for life. Hey, I was a shock jock stunt boy. I was dared. So I cannonballed. Big line. I'll give you a quick story. Big giant line of hundreds of people waiting to take the tour for the special tours and all that stuff, which were occurring on this day. And I'm in line. And the whole time I'm online, I'm on a cell phone, one of those early 1997 phone, little Nokia thing with the pull-up antenna. So I'm on a cell phone. It's like, and I'm doing these call-ins. They're doing their normal morning show back in Chicago, but every break, but every like segment, they check in with me. All right, let's see what's happening down there at the big Elvis Presley celebration. And nothing was happening because I was stuck in line. And they put me on hold. And my producer, my buddy Doc, who I talk about all the time, God love him, he's not here anymore. He passed away a few years ago. So they put me on hold, and Doc picks up and he's like, Pugs. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you got to make something happen, man. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, where are you? And I go, well, I'm standing by his pool, and they've got his pool. It's beautiful. It's all lined with these little candles. So the pool is, because, people started lining up when it was still dark. So the pool's lined with all these candles. Like, it's really pretty. He's like, why don't you go swimming, man? Like, this was behind the scenes. This was my producer. Why don't you go swimming, man? You go swimming, I'll put you on right now. We'll break in. And I go, F it. Because it was a bad bit. The bit was going nowhere. I had done like 5 call-ins already. And it's like, let's go back to Pugs, standing in line. What are you doing? You're not doing anything. Why did we even send you there? That's what I'm getting for 5 calls. And then behind the scenes, Doc goes, man, you better make something happen. I'm like, okay. So I made something happen. And I cannonballed in the pool. I climbed over the little fence. And with the cell phone, and I jumped, and I put the phone down, and I cannonballed, and it was on the radio. And then there was this weird situation where there was like 10 security guys out. They didn't want to go in the pool. And then I thought it would be funny if I could try and make them get wet. But then I also thought if I try and make the guys get wet, they're just going to be really pissed. And I was already expecting to get beat up. I was expecting, this is pretty even, look, I'm trying to be entertaining on the radio back in the shock jock era. And I'm trying to be, entertaining while still recognizing that what I am doing is highly offensive to a lot of very good people who didn't need this nonsense in their, anniversary of Elvis's death day. So anyway, they finally got me out of the pool. I was putting on a big show. I wish to God, man, that this happened in the YouTube era. That would have been a viral video. It would have been great. It would have been funny. I mean, I'd have been an idiot, but I was pretty much a professional idiot. Anyway, on this day, do we care? Elvis died. Yes, he did. And I am still banned for life. Maybe tonight on the Radio Misfit show, I'll tell the whole story about how I got out of the pool and I was wet and I had the nerve to ask for a towel. But I wasn't thinking. I didn't mean to be funny, but I said, hey, can I get a towel? And everybody in line erupted in laughter. I was like, I didn't even mean that to be funny. So then it turned into a bit. So now I pick up my phone and I'm soaking wet. I'm dripping wet. And I'm like, boss, you still there? And I just hear mayhem in the studio. So they've obviously been listening and they are just, at that point, I get tackled on like, no running by the pool. It's like cement. It's like, so I get tackled up, but it's like fancy Elvis tacky cement, so it's like cobblestone kind of. And I get tackled. And the phone goes dead because the battery busts off the back of it. So that was it. And then I was dragged away. I was taken to the guardhouse and they called the Memphis police. And I remember one dude who had showed up for work, and he showed up at the guardhouse, and I was sitting there, and he's like, "What's this about?" And the guy goes, "This idiot thought it would be funny for a radio stunt to jump in Elvis's pool." And the dude looks at me and he goes, "Man, you don't want to go to jail in Memphis for doing dumb stuff like that." I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I might get my ass. They let me go. They didn't press charges. They understood it was a radio thing, and then we were promoting the whole event. And, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff had to be done. They took my picture. They took my fingerprints, like Elvis Presley's police force, like took my fingerprints. That's about. And they told me that I had been banned for life from Graceland. So there you go. That's my story. I can't go back. It's one of my better stories. I got stories. Trying to outdrink the Russian mob in an Icelandic brothel. That's another story. That's another story I got. All right, Elvis Presley dead on this day. Dead on this day in 2003, Idi Amin. Idi Amin, Ugandan field marshal politician, the last king of Scotland. He declared he was king of Scotland. He was he was not a good man. We do not care that Idi Amin died. This next one, I'm going to do a preemptive. Aretha Franklin died on this day. Do we care? Of course we do. Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul. You better think R-E-S-P-C. She was good. I met her once at, I was covering the Democratic National Convention. I don't know, was it 96? Was there an election in 96? Yeah, there would have been. It was 92. Anyway, it was the one that was in Chicago. It was the one that was there. So I was covering that, and I was in this like, was it, I think it was like Hillary Clinton or something, or somebody was moving through the lobby, and she would have been vice president. She would have been first lady at the time. So she had a big security detail, and they pushed everybody that was in the lobby while her people were coming through. They pushed us all into these adjoining rooms. And I found myself in this room with a number of other people, probably about 20 other people, but standing right next to Aretha Franklin, standing right next to her. Big lady. This was Aretha Franklin in 1996. You Google that. She was very big. Like, she's Aretha, and you want her to be kind of big. She's always been, husky. She was like unhealthy big. And I was standing there, and she's talking to someone next to her. And then I just kind of turned to her and I go, wow, stuck in a room with Aretha Franklin. And she laughed, and she put her hand on my shoulder, and she goes, oh, honey, it ain't nothing. And then she turned back and started talking to whoever she was talking to. And I'm like, okay. I had a moment with Aretha Franklin. Oh, honey, it ain't nothing. I was impressed to be stuck in a room with Aretha Franklin. All right, so yeah, we care. Aretha died on this day in 2018. Dead on this day in 2019, another dude who I just love to death. He came on with Kelly and I. And it was a real thrill for me because I think this guy is a really cool individual. I have my list of them dudes, your Chris Christophersons. There's a lot of them dudes. This is another one of them dude. Steve McQueen's one of them dudes. Peter Fonda. Yeah, we care. Peter Fonda died in 2019. He came in and he sat with Kelly and I, and we were told he was very tight. He only had 5 minutes for us. Did we still want him? And yeah, we wanted him. And I don't know. I think it was, if you're familiar with the old Pugs and Kelly show, we had a unique way of interviewing people. We interviewed people more conversationally than from the standpoint of journalists trying to extract facts or something. He stayed with us for over an hour. Peter Fonda, like his people kept you'd see the people through the window and they'd be like, we gotta go. And he's waving them off. He's like, Peter Fonda, I can do whatever I want. I don't know if you know who my dad was. It's like he's Peter Fonda. He was great. He was old. When did he die? He died in 2019. So this was probably about 2010, maybe. So maybe about a decade before his death. He was old and he had stories and he was willing to talk about anything. And it just so happens, I don't know if you know this about me, but I know a lot of stupid trivia about stuff from the past, especially as it pertains to Hollywood. He was telling stories about being a kid. One story that he told me was that there was a fight. There was a fight at one of the Fonda family events, like a pushing match. The whole Fonda family was there, and they had a whole bunch of other people there. And the fight started because Jimmy Stewart, the actor Jimmy Stewart, because Jimmy Stewart had dunked Peter Fonda for what Henry Fonda thought was too long. So there was a time in this crazy universe. They say all things are possible with an ever-expanding universe. There was a time where the possibility that Jimmy Stewart and Henry Fonda almost got into a fight in the backyard, that actually happened. So, yeah, we care. Peter Fonda, dead on this day. All right. The great Peter Fonda. That's going to do it. We have basically gone through all of the prep for learning about today and now. Second hour of the show, as is always the case, we move forward into what we like to call the deets of the day. These are all the issues that are trending, the hot topics, the current events, things people are talking about, breaking news. If it's screaming at you from a TV or if you're seeing it on a pop-up on your page, whatever, I'm going to cover it for you, and I'm going to give it to you. Now, remember, this is a stream of consciousness. It's just at least 2 hours of me just ranting about all the things that are happening in the world. My hope for you is that at the end of this, you're going to be able to walk freely throughout this chaotic world, bumping into anyone you might without fear of them saying, hey, did you hear about? And then you having to go, no, I didn't hear about that. And then you're stuck. Then you're stuck listening to this idiot's drunk history version of whatever today's headlines are. No, take this drunk idiot's history. So let's get into all the issues of today. Also, I'd like to remind you, the show runs on your gratuities. Treat me like I'm your bartender. We do this show every day. We're heading into our 3rd year now of doing this every Monday through Friday at noon, bringing you this style of talk radio. Non-divisive, non-political, just all the other things that people are talking about. If you support that kind of radio, drop me a little tip. It would sure go a long way. You guys keep us on the air. So thank you so much. I'll leave that up. The tip flag is flying. So Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff. If you can drop anything, again, I'm your pizza delivery guy, man. I'm your whatever. I'm your barista. Tip the show if you can. We do appreciate it. All right, let's move into the big topics of today. We run through these as quickly as possible. We don't like to spend too much time on any one thing because there is a lot to talk about in this crazy world. Maui. Let's talk about Maui. 106, I think, is the number now. The death toll is up to 106. They still have a whole lot of stuff to sift through. The Maui fires, I think they're under control. I heard something this morning. They're like, there's a new fire. But I mean, I think they're pretty much, well, it's an island, right? It's like a candle. If you think of it like that, an island is just a candle in the water. As soon as the wick burns down, I mean, I don't know. The President of the United States is going to be visiting Hawaii. He will be visiting over the weekend, taking a tour of the affected areas. Just a real, we've been talking about it now for a week. So it's dying down. Just a real sad situation. I still feel bad. I still feel bad about on the first day that this story broke out, I was very dismissive. If you go back like a week ago, I was like, yeah, a bunch of rich people in Hawaii are being inconvenienced, so we all need to be worried. That's the attitude that I took. And I took it a bit performatively, putting on a show. But then I felt bad. Like I started looking at this and I'm like, no, man, these are the people who sell you knickknacks out of thatched roofed huts that are being wiped out. These are not the rich guys. And now, of course, we got all the speculators descending upon one of my rich guy friends. So the stories are now, predatory speculators are swooping in to buy up the land for pennies on the dollar from these families that have owned it for generations. That whole thing's going on now. So there's going to be a lot of speculation. You're going to build it up. It's going to be bigger, better, more beautiful. It will. It won't be the same. It'll be different. So now we're confronted with that thing we're always confronted with. How do we handle change? It's going to be different. Lahaina Town's not going to be what Lahaina Town was in 2022. It's now going to be something different. Good, bad, I don't know. Let's see. But the president is going to go over the weekend, and I'm sure he'll fix everything. That'll be fine. Everybody will be fine. Just start handing out checks. Mark Meadows, former chief of staff to the former president. He's one of the dudes that's indicted, but he's got a pretty tricky play up his sleeve. They've all been indicted in Fulton County down there in Georgia. And when I say they all, it's I don't even like to say these names because you know how it is. But this is just a piece of news that is happening, and I'm trying to give it to you as bipartisanly and as straight as possible. So like 19 other dudes and some women. Sydney Powell, my neighbor right down the street. I know where she lives. I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go stand out in front of her house and watch her get perp walked. Say, hey, Sydney, because I don't care who you are. That one is a little bit, that one is. So Mark Meadows, Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, look at me saying their names. These are all co-conspirators. These are all people who have been co-indicted. Mark Meadows is doing an interesting play. As former chief of staff to the president of the United States, his lawyers are contending that he cannot and should not be tried in a state court because he was operating under the auspice of the federal government. Therefore, he should be tried in a federal court. Now, I don't know. Certainly if Mark Meadows has success with this change of venue play to have this moved to DC in a federal court as opposed to Fulton County from a jury pool that I guess they've determined is not going to be beneficial to them. If Meadows is able to do this, then what we've got is a situation where Trump will probably do it too, because if the chief of staff to the president can claim this and get a change of venue, then certainly the president can too. I don't know if this is a very big deal. Again, if you want to know the ins and outs and if you want to be told what to think about this whole story, plenty of opportunities for you. Might I suggest you turn on the radio and just start scanning the AM dial? That's not what we do here. These are just the facts. Looking for a change of venue? I told you why. North Korea. This is good. Okay, this is good. A couple weeks ago, this is what happens with us, and it drives me nuts because I put these shows together every single day. And sometimes we do a story, and I'm like, this story's so weird. And I just know, even while I'm talking to you about the story for the very first time, I know we're never going to hear about the story again. The story right now, we're dazzled by it, and we're not going to learn how it resolves itself. We're not going to learn, you know what I mean? We never learn. Oh, yeah, is that unless it's like a really big one or like a pretty missing girl. Like those are the ones we always follow all the way to the end. Pretty missing girl. We're going to stay on that one. Do you remember the dude, the military guy, Army dude? I don't even know what his name is. It doesn't matter. But he was a United States Army soldier, Army man. Soldier. He was a soldier. He was in the United States military. And he was stationed there in South Korea. And he got in a bar fight and he got thrown in jail. And he was in jail for like 47 days. And then on the day that he got bailed out of jail, he bought a ticket for a tour of the DMZ. Checkpoint Charlie. Is that what they call it? No, Checkpoint Charlie was... no, in the DMZ was... what do they call it? You know the line there in North Korea, between North Korea and South Korea? It's the line. Anyway, he took a tour of that. And when they got off the bus or something, he made a beeline for North Korea. So this American Army guy runs over to North Korea. We were all like, what's he talking about? You remember the deal? Here's the deal. He's a screw up. There's a lot of dudes in the Army who are screw ups. You know, they get thrown in the brig all the time. That's why they have them. It's a screw up. He was going to be sent back to America for court martialing. You know, he didn't want to work at Arby's for the rest of his life. He was probably having some kind of emotional and mental crisis. And he decided in that moment, hey, I'll just defect. Now, what did he do when he did that? Now, sure, he made the choice to go live that awful life. I mean, there's none of the pill. I would rather come back to America, face my court martial, live with the prospect of working at Arby's for the rest of my life, only because I would still be in America and I would still have that other wild card opportunity. You ain't getting that in North Korea. You're going to be eating sweet potatoes and dirt for the next 40 years. Is that honestly what you want? So he did it. So he runs over there and we were all like, what the hell is he thinking? I don't think he's in his right mental state, but whatever. What do I care? He's a grown-ass man. He made a decision. He ran across the border. He defected. North Korea is finally talking about this. Remember, the story just goes away. It just goes away. I guess he lives there now. Like, that's how we're all supposed to react to it. North Korea is actually talking now. And they did exactly what they were going to do. They took him in. They probably tuned him up a little. Probably did a little of that Stockholm syndrome on him. You know, first it was tell us everything you know. You tune him up, torture him, do whatever you want. And then when that's all done, you're like, okay, now we're going to use you as a puppet of the state. You are going to you're going to talk about, you're going to be Tokyo Rose. You're going to talk about how awful America is. And, you know, you're going to be our mouthpiece. So if this is what this guy's new job is, like spokesman to the Western world for North Korea, I might have to rescind my original judgment that he made the wrong call. Because that's even in North Korea. Like in North Korea, if there's like 1 million people and 999,999,000 of them all eat sweet potatoes and exist on dirt, there's like a little percentage of people who live big, who live like you want to talk about 1%. This is like 0.1%. But you know, like Kim Jong-un and all of his buddies and all the people who work for the government, when any of these corrupt regimes, there is always a social class that is just in the orbit of the supreme leader or whatever who lives pretty damn good. And if this little army dude, if he's now in that orbit, like when Dennis Rodman goes to visit North Korea, he doesn't hang out with slaves, right? When he goes to North Korea, he hangs out in like his own private Four Seasons resort. And that's, that's what this dude's going to get. Let's see. U.S. Korea. Korea now claiming that the U.S. soldier who sought refuge in the state fled because of racism. And North Korea, it's just, you're all so racist. I mean, that's basically what they're saying. They're using this guy as an example to the rest of the world, and that's probably going to be his job. And it'll be a good job until he is no longer useful. And then, I don't know what he does then. They have no more use for him. All right, indictment ratings. This is a big thing that happens. The indictment, the fourth time that the former president has been indicted, and with each and every indictment night, we like to take a look at the major cable news outlets. And by that, I mean the three. Why do I say the three? Because they're pretty, I always say this and people don't want to hear it, but it's the absolute truth. CNN is in the middle. Fox News leans right. MSNBC leans left. That's just how it is. CNN, isn't it? Yeah, they really are. I mean, they lean both ways on occasion. They're like bi-curious of news outlets. But no, they were, as compared to the other three, which is what we're doing. We're lining up the three big ones, Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN. And we're looking at how their ratings were the night of the indictment, which would have been Monday night. And why do we do this? We do this because it shows level of interest. It shows, because here's what we know. We know that if former President Trump is indicted, we know that MSNBC is going to be celebratory. And they're going to be like, oh, he's definitely going to jail. Oh, and this is the one we've been waiting for. And then we know that if you tuned on Fox, you'll get, this is an aberration of justice. I cannot believe, you get that. And then you get CNN, and anyway, you get something in the middle of that. You get one guy that says the one thing, and the other guy says the other. You get the middle. Anyway, it's sort of in the middle. So we look at the ratings on the night because we like to see what the American news-consuming public, where did they flock to? Where did this happen? So, and as one might expect, I guess here's the question. Here's the question that I would have for you. Would you expect on a night that President Trump was indicted, would you expect more people watching to want to celebrate or more people watching want to be angry and outraged? I think the celebration wins all the time. I think especially for fence sitters, people who don't usually watch the news. And that's also a big factor in what we're talking about. Because on the night of a big news story, you get looky-loos. You get people who are not every Monday through Friday viewers of cable news. You get them tuning in for this special breaking news event. And where do they go? Wherever they go, you can tell where their political, leanings lie. Are they going to CNN? They're probably somewhere in the middle. Are they immediately going to Fox and blowing Fox's numbers up? No, they're probably, right-leaning. MSNBC probably left-leaning. So that's why we look at the ratings. And this is going to be the final installment of Ratings Wars. MSNBC dominated. So people in America who do not typically watch cable news Monday through Friday on the night of the Trump indictment had the choice to go and celebrate with MSNBC or go and be outraged with Fox, and by a massive, massive number. MSNBC's Monday night primetime numbers were bigger than Fox News's and CNN's combined. That Rachel Maddow lady, she dominated with almost 4 million people. She was number one in all of TV, not just cable news, number one in all of TV. So that's interesting because what that's telling you is the person that's not involved in, if you live your life online and you have a certain group of friends, you could be fooled into thinking that the entire world does nothing but argue about Trump and Biden. When in reality, the real world doesn't. They don't. Except on nights like Monday, when there is a specific reason for these people who don't typically get into that argument or debate, make themselves known. MSNBC dominated. 3.927 million people. Let's see here. And then that lady I like, who I'm attracted to. I don't watch her show because I don't watch any of these news shows because I think they're all kind of bogus. That's Stephanie Rule. That I like her. I like her. I like her attitude. I bet you she's fun to drink with, she's cool. She dominated as well. She did 3.4. Yeah, she did 3. Maddow did 3.9, and then Stephanie Ruhle did 3.4 million. The highest rated of all the others was the 5. The 5 on Fox had a 2.8 million people. Hannity had 2.4. So there you have it. So that's interesting. It's telling. It says what people who aren't typically involved in politics, when they're given the choice on this specific night, when the subject is specific to Trump, are they going to Fox News where they can be angry about the decision, or are they going to MSNBC where they can celebrate? And this has happened all 4 times. MSNBC. Now, it'll go back to Fox News dominating Monday through Friday when it's just, non-news type stuff. But that's a big thing. Or not a big thing, but it's an interesting thing. More on the blind side lie. We've been covering this story, the story of the Toohey family who didn't adopt Michael Orr, the NFL football player for the Baltimore Ravens and I think Carolina Panthers. They made the movie The Blind Side. Everybody got rich. Sandra Bullock got an Oscar. Michael Orr got his pro career. Everybody's happy. Turns out that Michael Orr doesn't have the best relationship with the Toohey family, and all these years later, Michael Orr is now suing the Toohey family because a number of things he felt he was lied to about. And but it's just such an ugly story. Depending on if you're a cynic or an optimist or whatever, I mean, I suppose you can go down any rabbit hole concerning this story, but I just fall so deeply into cynicism with this story, and I don't like it. I don't like being a cynic. I think Hollywood portrayed this to be a story of love and how family comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors. That was the Hollywood thing. That's not what it was at all. That's not what it appears to have been at all. So now the family, after the first couple of days that this became a news story, the family was reacting with shock and I can't believe Michael would do this. We love Michael. Michael is a part of this family. And the dad, Sean Toohey, even said, I would never steal money from any of my children. Well, and he's still Sean Toohey is still trying to leverage that. Michael, you're my child. I adopted you. But he didn't adopt him. See, that's the thing that Michael found out. Michael found out that he wasn't adopted. He's not a member of the family. Sean Toohey's not his dad. Stop calling me son. You're not my dad. What he is a conservator over his business dealings, which that was the paperwork that apparently Michael Orr signed. According to Michael Orr, because there are 2 sides to these stories, according to Michael Orr, he was duped at a very young age into signing what he thought were adoption papers that actually turned out to be conservatorship papers. We know about conservatorships. We just went through it with Brittany. This guy's 41 years old. He no longer plays in the NFL. He's got about $20 million in the bank. He's fine. But he doesn't want to be under a conservatorship anymore that he didn't even realize that he was under until only recently. Now, the family is pushing back on that, saying, nah, are you kidding me? We've been in this business arrangement for 20. What do you mean he's just finding out about it now? All right, so that's been the story. And the Toohey family has been very, very polite. We can't believe that Michael would do this. We love Michael. Michael, come back to the family. It's like that kind of vibe from the Toohey family. Not anymore. Not anymore. It seems that the Toohey family have now gotten new legal advice and they are going on the offensive. The Toohey family is now saying that Michael Orr, they're not calling him son anymore. See, it's so manipulative. The first things was, but come on, we're gonna give one last attempt to make you think that we love you. So Michael, you're our son. It's like one last attempt. And now today he tried to shake us down for $15 million. That's what they're claiming now. The family is now claiming they want the FBI involved. They want this to be a blackmail case. Because apparently, when he found out that they all got money for the movie, which, by the way, they're saying that they didn't get money for the movie, but Variety, the industry Bible of movies, did a piece where they went through the accounting, or at least the published accounting from that time. And it says that the family definitely received money. And that the family is saying that they didn't. And Michael Orr, I guess over the years, found out about the money. He's like, hey, it's my story. How come I never got a check for that? And now they're saying he demanded $15 million. So maybe that's true. I don't know. But this story, hey, look, This is the new story that we have to follow, that we have to see how it ends. I know we all thought it was going to be Elon Musk and Zuckerberg fighting. That seems like that's not going to be so. We got to get off that story. So the story that we're going to cover and check in with from day to day is probably going to be this one. Because the Wander Franco story is just too disturbing. Let's go to Good Goo. What town? What town is this? There's no way that's the name. I must have completely botched the spelling of this name. Anyway, there's a little town in Minnesota. The entire police department quit. Did you hear about this? Small Minnesota town will be without police after chief and officers resign, citing low pay. Goodhue, Minnesota. A small Minnesota town will soon be without police department. An exodus spurred by low pay for the chief and for his officers. Goodhue Police Chief Josh Smith and one other officer are still on the force, but only until their resignation becomes official on August the 23rd. Smith submitted his resignation at a city council meeting on August 9, while another full-time officer and 5 part-time employees resigned Friday after learning that Smith was stepping down. This is heartbreaking to us, Goodhue Mayor Ellen Anderson Buck said. My fancy 3 names. Goodhue Mayor Ellen Anderson Buck. Oh, of the Goodhue Anderson Bucks. She said Monday night after an emergency council meeting, Goodhue in southeastern Minnesota has about 1,300 residents. Okay, tiny little town. This happens a lot where tiny towns, they sort of implode their police departments and then they contract with the county authorities and they just have county places. You know, that's rural. That's kind of rural America. What I was interested in was the pay scale here because I don't know anything about what cops make. I mean, and that's funny too, because I'm a cop family, right? I always talk about that. It's like I come from a cop family. I don't know, but what it was like, you see these, advertisements. Become a police officer, and I'm like, yeah, I become a cop, like seriously, how hard is it? Is it hard? And I wonder what they pay. So what is the amount of money that they're paying in Goodhue that is making it so that the officers can't work? They're getting $22 an hour. Okay. So $22 an hour. 22 hours, let's say they work in 40 hours a week, right? 22 hours, 40 hours a week. That comes out to, I did the math and I didn't show my work. So what that comes out to after taxes, $22 an hour, 40-hour week. Trust me, I did the math. You can do it the same. Maybe you'll use a different tax structure than me, but I just use a basic 1/3. $22 per hour at 40 hours a week after taxes should land these small town Goodhue, Minnesota officers $30,000 a year. Now, I don't know what rents are in Goodhue. I don't know what mortgages or homes cost in Goodhue. I don't know. Is that a lot of money? No, it's certainly not a lot of money. $22 an hour, however, that's pretty good. We're fighting, or not we are, but people are fighting to get a $15 national minimum wage. Well, it's $7 more than that, as well it should be, because it's for a police officer. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to this question is. I don't know. Does the county have it? Look, would it be more economically feasible for the county to expand and hire more officers to be able to patrol this town than it is to just support an independent police force in this town? That's probably a very real question. And I bet you, I mean, I don't know where this is. Southeastern Minnesota. It's not a whole lot there. Well, no, actually, that's sort of like on that corner of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. I don't know. Anyway, crazy story. The whole police department. And by whole police department, I mean 6 officers. Bootleg Ozempic. Do you guys know about Ozempic? I'm a fat guy who's in his 50s. I should know about Ozempic, but I don't, because whenever another of my fat guy 50-year-old friends starts telling me about Ozempic, I shut them down and I tell them that I will do my own research on this new wonder drug. Ozempic. No, see, I'm kidding. I don't do that. This is crazy. It's like, I have a friend who wouldn't get the vax, but he's been on Ozempic for a year. Okay. You had all these lofty reasons. Look, I got the vax. I don't know if it was good or bad for me, but it seemed like in that moment I had to make a decision. And, I look at the world very seriously, and I decided for myself, yeah, go ahead and get it. I'll get it. Whatever. You never heard me have a position either way on it. I have said that I'm not getting any more boosters because after the last booster that I got so sick, and I'm just going to free ball it from here on out. I'm just going to risk it. But Ozempic apparently is a drug. I don't know. What was it for? Tumors and gerbils or something. It's one of these deals where it was a drug like Viagra, right? It was a drug that was intended to do something else. Like Viagra was initially, they were working on a baldness cure. And they're like, well, we ain't growing hair, but everybody's hard as a rock. That. And they went, well, maybe we got something. So I think that's what happened with Ozempic too. This is like, is it diabetes medication that like all of a sudden people started dropping all kinds of weight? Anyway, so look, I know a lot of people who swear by it. I ain't going near it, but I know a lot of people who swear by it. And I know one person in particular who has lost like 150 pounds. They look amazing. They used to be this huge, like 6'6", 380-pound, big, jovial, life of the party guy. That guy's now like 6'8", and he looks great. 6'8", he didn't grow. Ozempic didn't make him grow. You know what I mean? He looks great. And he's in his 50s. So I understand why he's so excited about it, and I understand why there's a whole bunch of other people talking about it. It's exciting. We've been waiting for the pill, right? That's it. All us fatties, of which I have been one my entire life. We've all been waiting for that miracle. But boy, if there was just a pill I could take, we've been saying that. And now here's a pill. And guess what I'm saying? Pass. No, I don't trust it. I think everything, when I look at the world, I just see a swirling drain. And I'm not saying that we are out of water, but we are getting to the end. And, all of these Ozempic miracles, suddenly now we're towards the end of what I perceive to be civilized society. We're moving towards the end of this. And now suddenly you've got the miracle fat pill, flying cars coming next. I don't trust any of it. We're swirling down the drain, people. So a lot of people like Ozempic, but again, because it seems to work, it's expensive and only for rich people. That's basically it. So bootleg Ozempic for all us poor fatties is becoming a thing. Apparently, you can buy a bootleg. There's another drug too, right? Monjaro and Ozempic. They're like, there's always like some like espionage. Like nobody ever works on something like this is brand, like in the pharmaceutical game, like this is going to cure this. This is great. And you're at like Dow Chemicals or something. This is going to be at the very same time, someone at Eli Lilly is working on the same damn thing. And they just give it, I don't know how that works. I don't know how everybody seems to stumble across the same pill. Suddenly there's 5 pills for something that we didn't have 1 pill for 6 months ago, but now there's 5 from 5 different companies. Spend enough time searching for Ozempic, Wegovy, or Monjaro, and you'll find dozens of websites selling knockoff versions of the popular drugs without a prescription. These websites are part of a robust online marketplace for what have been called weight loss miracles, selling raw ingredients that cost far less than the brand name drugs. They market to customers on social media, emphasizing discounts and pharmaceutical grade quality, while stating that their products are for research purposes only. Yeah, there's always a loophole. There's always some evil lawyer. The Wall Street Journal identified more than 50 websites selling semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in That's the other thing about it. Very complicated names with some of these pharmaceutical companies. The Wall Street Journal identified more than 50 websites selling semaglutide and tirzepatide. These are the active ingredients in Novo Nordisk's Ozempic and Wegovy and Eli Lilly's Monjaro. See how it's like basically the same drug, but multiple pharmaceutical companies suddenly have the same drug. Don't you tell me there's not collusion. Nearly all of them, including disclaimers that these substances are not for human consumption. Okay, so people are going online, they're buying these knockoffs of Ozempic and stuff like that, and they're saying right there, not for human consumption, and you're still buying it? Isn't that a red flag? Because it says not for human consumption, because the people selling it have lawyers who told them people might die. You got to put this up. So they're putting it up not for human consumption. That's not a red flag to you. The Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Okay. So we did that. It says here, all of the knockoffs include disclaimers that the substances are not for human consumption, but several also include instructions for how to prepare human doses or sponsor online forums where people explain how to inject them. The Food and Drug Administration has called similar websites' research disclaimers bogus and says that customers shouldn't buy their products as they haven't been tested by the agency. All right, very good. Flash mobs are trending. Flash mobs are back, and oh my God, are they more violent than ever? Flash mobs, I'm a kid. Look, I'm a kid from the aughts. I remember the rise of the flash mob. I remember when it was just a bunch of kids from your theater department in high school. That's it, just your local high school's theater department. They're gonna show up in the middle of a plaza at an outdoor mall, and at the strike of 1 p.m., they're all gonna, do a dance. That was fun. And some of us saw that back then and we're like, that's lame. I hate that. And then some of us were like, oh, look at the weird kids go. You keep being weird, theater kid. This is fun. There's no problem with it. They were nice, but they were boring and they went away. How many times can you see like a rendition of West Side Story? You can't. It's done by a bunch of high school teens. No, doesn't work. So they went away. They went away for like 10 years, and they're back, and they're more violent than ever. That's right. The theater kids have been replaced by street gangs. Street gangs are now using flash mob technology, and that's what we'll call it, flash mob technology. Group texts. Isn't that what it is? I don't know how they do it. How's it work? Discord. Seems like everything shady in this world begins on Discord, which upsets me because my kid is very into Discord. I'm like, what is Discord? I need to learn what this is. No, I learned it on Discord. Should you be learning stuff on Discord? That's what I always say. Should you be learning stuff on Discord? Oh, Dad, it's fine. All right. Guess it's fine. So if you've been seeing this stuff here, we'll show you this. We'll watch a story. We'll watch a news story from our affiliate there in Los Angeles, California. This is the Nordstrom's video. Did you guys get to see this? This was a flash mob mass robbery at a Nordstrom somewhere there in California, Los Angeles area, I think it is. Let's watch this news story. You get to watch some video here too. Here we go. All right, hold on. Get out of here, Julie Newmar. What the hell are we looking at? All right, hold on. All right. Where's my video? Continue reading. Show me my video. Let's see. Dressed in monochrome black and gray, head to toe, they stormed through the doors of the Nordstroms at the Westfield Topanga Mall Saturday afternoon. More than 30 masked robbers, men and women, flowed into the Canoga Park store immediately, heading for the top dollar purses, clothes racks, and jewels. There's the video. There we go. All right. Here, we'll watch this news story. Boop. Just give me a second here. As a matter of fact, give me 3 seconds. And there you go. All right. Oh, screwed it up. All right, here we go.
Nordstrom at the Topanga Mall in Canoga Park is the latest target of a chaotic flash mob robbery. Police say the group made off with more than $300,000 in merchandise.
Whew.
Now tonight, security is being stepped up as police continue their search for the 30 or more individuals who stormed the Nordstrom.
I know that this isn't, I know this has nothing to do with the story. But again, look at what this woman is wearing. Now, I don't know. You're all going, what's wrong with what she's wearing? Because that's all you've ever seen your entire life. This is not how bright you look at. Anyway, you know, I have an issue with what women. This is not like a Fox News ball gown kind of a thing that is so over the top and absurd. But
Nordstrom in the middle of the day. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang has more.
All right, here they go.
Video shows a group of people inside Nordstrom at Westfield Topanga Mall in Canoga Park grabbing designer merchandise Saturday afternoon. Police said as many as 30 to 50 people may have been involved in this flash mob robbery.
It's just crazy. I mean, there's no integrity in our culture.
Obviously, you got to be terrified. I mean, if you're going with your wife out there with your children and you're walking there and somebody is robbing the store and I saw that they're running out, right? So imagine your kid is standing there.
LAPD says a security guard was attacked but is expected to be okay.
They bear sprayed one of the security guards here at the store.
Last week, a group of thieves robbed YSL at Americana brand in Glendale, part of the Caruso properties.
The problem is big. It's on the rise.
Founder Rick Caruso.
We're in a crisis. They're happening more and more. And what worries me is they're becoming more violent.
All right.
What do you believe is contributing to this rise
What is she in the news van? What? Look at this. What is she doing? Where is she? What? You couldn't do this from a studio? You didn't have a better? All right, we don't need to see any more of that. You get the. You understand what it is. Flash mob. They all show up. They all rob all at once. Can't stop 100 people robbing the store all at once. Maybe you got one security guard, and we've seen examples of that one security guard not even stopping that one guy stealing that stuff from CVS or wherever. So security guards, obviously, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. They're there as a visual deterrent, and that is all. You walk in, they're hoping that you see a security guard and go, oh no, I can't be a criminal now. That's what they're hoping. And it doesn't work. See, and what the criminals have learned is that not only are they just there visual, that they can't touch you. That it's not that they won't touch. They can't. They're told, they're instructed to. If somebody takes something, don't get into a fight with them on our property because then they could sue us. So look, the criminal element understands the fecklessness of the current security guard world and why come, especially big. You know where this would change? If it wasn't CVS, right? Here's the problem. CVS has a store on every other block in every city in America. CVS is big. Walgreens, if you will, whatever. CVS has deep pockets, and lawyers are always looking for an opportunity. I don't care if you're an ambulance chasing dude and your man stole a Gatorade and got tuned up by the CVS security guard. Your man's a dirtbag. He stole that Gatorade. He doesn't even apologize for it, but then he got tuned up on CVS property by that CVS. And guess what? CVS got to write a check for about $10 million now. Because some ambulance chaser went, we can just make a lot of noise and they will settle and we'll get just, whatever it is. They might even settle for like 50 grand, make it go away, whatever. Do you know how easy that is for CVS? So CVS's success and largesse, that's not how to use that word, but CVS's large nature and deep pockets and willingness to just make things go away for small amounts of money has led to this situation where people are just willing to take their. Now, you know where this would be different? So the security guard at CVS is instructed by CVS not to do anything because, again, deep pockets, and you'll probably just hurt somebody, and then a lawyer will come and we'll go and we'll end up settling. So that's why CVS with their 50,000 locations do not have their security guards do anything. You know who would stop someone from stealing? The security guard at Bob and Martha's Pharmacy. Back when we used to have mom and pop places or individually run businesses, you don't steal from them because there is actual sweat equity in the game. And there are people there who are going to be like, hey, this is our business and I'm going to stand up for it. What we have is a culture of corporate overlords that nobody gives a shit about. Do you think a manager at CVS is going to get into a fight with a gang? But no. But you know who might defend the store? The son of the proprietor, who's working the register, because that's how things used to be. It didn't used to be where like 15 people owned everything in the world. We didn't used to have the Best Buys and the Best Buy. That was a bad example. The Home Depots, the Walmarts, and God love them. They're convenient as hell. And I exist in a world where those are everyday staples of my existence. But I do also understand the argument that comes with problems. And these kinds of flash mobs and this kinds of thing, it happened at Nordstrom's, of course. Where it didn't happen at Bob's suit store. Because Bob would be out there with a baseball bat breaking heads. You know why? Because no ambulance chaser would take that case because Bob just owns one store. Bob isn't CVS with a team of lawyers just itching to write a settlement check. So that's why these things happen. It wouldn't. If we could just get rid of all of this, I'm not saying CVS doesn't have a right to exist, but maybe not a CVS on every corner. Maybe some pharmacist would like to open up his own pharmacy. I don't know. That's how it used to be. And again, it's a complicated situation because I am a man in the year 2023 and I love my CVS conveniences. I love that I can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get whatever I want. Maybe it would be a pain in the ass if it was 1949 and I had to go to like 15 different shops because only one shop has this screw and then the other shop has the ham. You know what I mean? So maybe that wasn't, but we didn't have this kind of social mayhem. It's absurd. Thank you. That's my rant. But I guess the question is, so what do you do? How do you stop it? Well, I don't know how you stop it with the current structure. As long as the criminals know that the worst case scenario is that maybe they can fake an injury and get a settlement. If that's like the worst, they know they're not going to get arrested. Well, they'll get arrested only by happenstance. If it's just like I was running out the door and I was turned around and I was laughing at my buddy and I ran right into two cops who were that guy gets arrested. Okay. But nobody else gets arrested. Everybody they run different. They scurry like rats running down the street with mink coats. You can't stop that. I don't know how you stop it. The only way that I could see it being stopped is if in some way the proprietors of these shops had sweat in the game. They don't have it. Nobody at Nordstrom's is concerned that Nordstrom's lost $300,000. Nobody who works at that Nordstrom store, maybe the general manager, but nobody else. Nobody's like, well, Nordstrom's. Their Christmas party last year cost 5 times that. They're fine. They're fine with losing the. Yeah. All right, here's a sad story. This is trending. This is, again, I'm an old baseball head. I love my baseball heroes from my youth. And this guy was absolutely, I don't know that I would say he was a baseball hero of mine, but crazy respect. Woo! Hated this guy in the 80s. Well, I hated him. How long did he play? I think he probably played 20 years. I don't know. There was a time in baseball, and this time isn't really here anymore. In some, there was a time in baseball when the closer was the scariest MFer on the planet, and they worked this sort of mythology and they leaned into the branding of being like a wild thing or like, just some big scary guy who, if you come and charge the mound, I'm going to put you right in your, they were scary, intimidating guys. Dennis Eckersley was one of the most intimidating closer. Dennis Eckersley has a bunch of crazy, I don't know that modern baseball reveres him the way that people of my generation do. But the Boston Red Sox, Oakland A's, he was their guy with the Bash brothers, Canseco and McGuire. When they were in the Oakland A's were monsters. Eckersley was their guy, man, closing out all those games. He's won the Cy Young as a 20-game winning starting pitcher. And then at the second half of his career, reinvented himself as probably the most dominant closer of the era. There were a couple others, but certainly, man, Dennis Eckersley. A very sad story concerning Dennis Eckersley. Dennis Eckersley, by the way, he went on to be a broadcaster for the Boston Red Sox, a team that he initially played for. He retired. He was very good. He was a very good baseball analyst. Dennis Eckersley has a very sad situation going on with his mentally disturbed daughter. He has a daughter who her entire life has had problems, mental problems, been doctor's care, medicated, all that kind of stuff. Very sad situation, very complicated. Don't know the details, so let's just leave it at she probably deserves our sympathy and care. She was living as a homeless woman. And she gave birth on Christmas Day in a tent in the woods. And then she apparently left the baby, and she says she went and called 911, but I don't know what that's about. But she left the baby with her boyfriend, who was this. I'll show you who she left the newborn baby with. In a tent in the woods in New Hampshire on Christmas Day. Are you connecting all of the dots? Christmas Day in the woods. Are you wearing a jacket? Is it cold out? It sure is. New Hampshire at Christmas time. I mean, there you go. How about that one? Here. So look at this guy. This guy was, well, I'll give you the story, so we'll get it for real. The headline is Man Sentenced for Abandoning Baby After Major League Baseball Pitcher Dennis Eckersley's Daughter Gave Birth in the Woods. All right, so pop-ups. Look at this, man. How disturbed do you have to be? Look at this guy. This is who she left the baby with. She's like, the baby comes out naked, covered in blood. I don't know how they severed the cord or whatever, but the baby comes out and she leaves. I'm obviously never given birth. It seems very difficult. Doesn't seem like you want to go for a hike through the woods on Christmas Day in New Hampshire moments after giving birth. But she did, and she left him with this guy. And so now this guy, but by the way, long story short, the Eckersleys, Dennis and his wife, are taking care of the baby. So, it's like the baby's got a rich grandpa. Baby's got, hopefully the baby will be fine. A 45-year-old New Hampshire man. This dude is 45. Jeez, he looks 65 if he looks a day. Look at him. A 45-year-old New Hampshire man will spend at least a year in jail for endangering the life of a newborn baby after Major League Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Dennis Eckersley's daughter gave birth in the woods last year during sub-freezing temperatures. George Thurberg, so we're calling him Thurberg, Theberg. Thurberg. George Thurberg was sentenced on Monday after pleading guilty to the misdemeanor child endangerment charge, having reached a deal with prosecutors. The baby boy was left alone in a tent for more than an hour on December 26th. Oh, I'm sorry. I think he was born on Christmas Day, but this was on the 26th. The baby boy was left alone in a tent for more than an hour on December 26th as temperatures dipped to -9 degrees. Okay, that's cold. That's cold. A police affidavit. I don't want to read any more of the story. There you go. You got it. Dennis Eckersley's baby had a baby, and it's a very sad situation. So best thoughts out for that family. All right, moving forward. What else do we have here? Let's get rid of this guy. I can't look at him. Jesus, how do you live your life? I mean, I understand it. People have mental problems. That's a bad card to be handed in life, man. Pig kidneys. Pig kidneys are trending. Why? Because apparently pig kidneys work. All right, I'm going to read it to you. Pig kidney. A genetically modified pig kidney transplanted into a brain-dead person has worked for 32 days. So just that sentence alone. Let's talk about that sentence. All right, so obviously, it's probably in our best interest to figure out, kidneys. People lose a kidney. You need a kidney transplant. Maybe can we use other mammals? Maybe what a pig? Let's try a pig. So they're trying a pig kidney, trying to see if a pig kidney could work. Remember baboon hearts? Remember that was a thing like back in the 90s, early 90s. Everybody wanted a baboon heart. Pig kidneys. Pig kidneys could be all the rage. Do you want to see my new pig kidney scar? Yeah, baby, I do. She has a pig kidney piercing that is so hot. It'll be a thing. Everybody will want pig kidneys. A genetically modified pig kidney transplanted into a brain-dead person has worked for 32 days. So I guess I'd never considered this. Like, is this a bad thing? Man, I'm going to have to sit in my moral closet. Whatever I have heavy moral decisions or things that I need to sort of jive with my moral and my principles and all that stuff, I just go lay down in a closet and think about it. Call it my moral closet. It's any closet that has been convenient to where I was living at the time. But throughout my life, I got to go into the moral closet. I got to figure this out. I got to think about this. I got to think hard. And I don't know what the closet has to do with it. I think it has to do with the darkness and the fact that I'm actually doing something which focuses me on concentrating on only that, because I have a mind that races and wouldn't want to be in the moral closet thinking about 100 different things. I'm in there for one topic. So the moral question, of course, is brain dead bodies. Can we experiment on them? I mean, I guess that's the question. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Brain dead bodies. Your grandma's a vegetable. Can we experiment on her? What do you say? Give us a call. 2-1. See, these are the kinds of things I used to do. I don't know. They put a pig kidney in a person that was brain dead just to see if it would work. I mean, it seems very convenient. It seems, because you don't want to mess around with animals. Like, well, we put a pig kidney into a dog and the dog seems okay, right? That's nothing. It's got to be into a human, and we got to see if like a human body. And honestly, a brain dead person, their organs are functioning normally and all that stuff. They're just brain dead. That's probably a pretty good option. But is it moral? I don't know. Into the moral closet on that one. I'll let you know at a later date. I don't know. Like, could there be some like manifest destiny kind of argument here where, yeah, it's sketchy morally, but grandma was never coming out of that coma, and look at the good we have done for greater humanity. I don't know. You could sell me that. I might buy that. We'll think about it. All right, here's a fun one. Folks, this is actually trending. So this is not me. This is not me saying this awful word. This is just trending. Jew face. Yeah, Jew face. Jew face is trending. What is Jew face? Well, Bradley Cooper is apparently at the center of this. So Leonard Bernstein, or do you say Bernstein? The way Michael Stipe does. And it's the end of the world as we know it. Leonard Bernstein. I think it's Leonard Bernstein. Conductor, composer, songwriter, brilliant man, almost entirely forgotten by the past 2 generations of people in America. Not for long, though, because Bradley Cooper's probably going to win an Oscar playing him, and then suddenly everybody's going to be like, I've liked Leonard Bernstein for years. You're going to hear that. So Leonard Bernstein was a Jewish guy, and Bradley Cooper, well, he ain't. And Bradley Cooper wants to play Leonard Bernstein because he wrote this movie. He's directing this movie. He wants to star in the movie. He wants to do it all. And he's an actor because, actors, it's their job to impersonate things they're not. Acting. That's what acting is. So Bradley Cooper, this is a big passion project of him. And Bradley Cooper's about as powerful as anyone in Hollywood. And he can make whatever he wants. Big box office, baby. Bradley, make what you want. And he's like, I want to play a Jewish guy. What did A Star Is Born do? Yeah, so, all right, do it. So this isn't a big deal, right? This is only a big deal now because of social media, because one person with a really stupid thing can reach out to 1 million people who like stupid things. And then suddenly everybody's like, you can't play a Jewish character unless you're Jewish because then you're a Nazi. And that is basically this entire argument. And it's absurd. And one of the people who really pushed this, the first time I heard this argument going around, it was over the casting of, I don't know who they ended up casting, but it was Sarah Silverman, comedian Sarah Silverman, didn't get cast as Joan Rivers in a biopic being made about Joan Rivers. And the person who did get cast to play Joan Rivers, Sarah Silverman had a problem with, not because she didn't get the role, she had a problem with it because she's not even Jewish. So in that moment, that was the first time I've ever heard about this issue where if you're not Jewish, you can't play a Jewish person. What? Like, when did this become a thing? This has never begun. And you can play. So how far do we take this? He's playing Leonard Bernstein, and he's not a Jewish guy. And Leonard Bernstein was a Jewish guy. and Leonard Bernstein. I have no idea what this is due to. Probably genetics. I'd like to see his mother and father and his grandfather, but Leonard Bernstein, who happened to be Jewish, had a big nose. So in order to become the character of Leonard Bernstein, he had a prosthetic nose. Because we've seen this before with actors. Oh my God, I didn't even recognize Robert De Niro. Oh my God, I didn't even recognize Dustin Hoffman. That's what they do. That's what good actors do. They become a character because, see, that character is not actually available. It's not a documentary. So it's actually, a dramatic portrayal of this person's life. And what actors do, you see, I didn't know that religious faith had anything to do with, how you're allowed to play roles. And how far are we going to take this? And wait a second, by the way, can I just say, Jim Carrey is Irish Catholic heritage. Jim Carrey was allowed to play Andy Kaufman, a Jewish man from New York. How come nobody complained about that? Because Sarah Silverman wasn't up for the role of Andy Kaufman, I'm guessing. But now, because of this whole Bradley Cooper thing, everybody's bashing him. Here, we can take a look at this. The trailer for the movie is out. So if we want to see what we're talking about, again, the problem is Bradley Cooper, apparently he's doing Jew face, which is like blackface or Jewish. Let's be honest. Sarah Silverman seems to be the one driving this. I've honestly not heard anybody else. But here we go. All right, so let's watch this. This is going to be the trailer. Really, you can make me watch a Today Show clip. I'm no interest in the Today Show clip. Oh, wait a second. Where's the trailer for the damn movie? That's what we want to watch. Hold on, is this it? Ugh. Guys, I'm sorry. This usually happens towards the end of the show. We get a little bit. What's it called? Maestro. Yeah, the film is called Maestro. Here we go. All right, we'll use this one. Okay. Bear with me a second here. All right, so here it is. He's being accused of Jew face. This is the trailer for the new Bradley Cooper film, Maestro, in which he portrays Leonard Bernstein, a Jewish man, and Bradley Cooper's in trouble because he's not a Jewish man. And why did you make your nose big? Is that a Jewish slam? No, it's because Leonard Bernstein had a big nose. I'm trying to be Leonard Bernstein. I'm not trying to be a Jew. I'm not trying to, do that whole old trope, that ugly old racist trope. The hook nose, that whole thing. That's a thing. That's what they're calling Jew face. So that's the origin of this whole story.
No.
Start of
6.
There you go.
Oh, it's 12.
No.
6.
No.
8.
Can you try? Just
Maybe I should
concentrate.
stop and think for a second.
You should stop and think, because I am sending it to you.
20.
No.
All right. Can I just say right here, right from the start, this movie looks awful. This movie looks like nothing I would be even remotely interested in. See, first of all, they're speaking with that mid-Atlantic tone that seems to have died off sometime around 1963. The way they used to speak, you used to hear it all the time. Katharine Hepburn had this way of speaking. Old movies, they used to speak like this all the time. It's called the Mid-Atlantic. It's a regional accent and speaking style of the northeastern United States. It's very prominent in the yachting communities of Rhode Island or, the Kennebunkports, Maryland, fancy Maryland, that kind of stuff. So that's what that is. That's the Mid-Atlantic. And they're talking in that stupid Mid-Atlantic. I hate it.
So how long do we have to do this for?
Well, we need to build up a very strong connection.
Hear that? Oh, we need to build up a very strong connection. It's become synonymous with the upper class in America, but really it is a legitimate accent in a way that people speak. They don't really do it anymore, but they used to do it. God, this looks awful. Thankfully, it's color. I'm gonna get a look at the nose.
Are you itching to
All right.
move?
No.
All right, there's a nose. There's a little black and white young nose. It's not like, it's not humorously. He looks like Leonard Bernstein. That's who he looks like.
I'm not
Good.
actually at all.
I'm thinking of a number.
I'm thinking of a number.
Oh, I don't know. 9.
No,
5.
no, you have to think.
I hate these people.
I'm trying to.
It's 2,
Maestro.
darling. It's 2.
Nice.
Like us, a pair. 2 little ducks in a pond.
Nobody cares. God, does that movie look awful, and it's probably going to win all kinds of awards. Seriously, I like everything. I like movies. I like that. Just looks so pretentious and so boring. Leonard Bernstein, I mean, what did he do? I know, look, I don't have to like it or enjoy to recognize when people make significant contributions to the culture and impact their time. He did that. I'm not of his time. So I don't have to pretend like a West Side Story. That's like the only thing I know that he did. But I know that he did like a million other things. I know that he's like an icon. He's like one of these Mount Rushmores of American music in the past 100 years. I know that. Everybody's pretty much forgotten about him. Like, he's not like an everyday name. People probably talk to your average 18-year-old till this movie trailer was released. They probably never even heard of Leonard Bernstein before. So that's the argument. Should Bradley Cooper be allowed to play a Jewish man with a Jewish nose? Yes. Yes, he should. Stop it. You are making problems where there doesn't need to be a problem. Because if you're really going to have a problem with this, we're going to have to talk about all the other films throughout history where people have played Jewish characters who were not Jewish. Or how about all the times people who weren't handicapped played handicapped people? Should we go take Daniel Day-Lewis's Academy Awards away? Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I got a cut on my finger. How did I get a cut on my finger? Oh my God, I'm breaking. I'm just getting old and I'm just breaking. Ow! Seriously, where did I cut my finger? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to worry about that. So easily distracted. All right, let's jump off of this. Actors should be able to play whatever they want. Daniel Day-Lewis, he did My Left Foot. We're going to take it. He wasn't crippled. We need only crippled. We don't have any really good crippled actors. Well, let's take some talented actors and cripple them. Right? It's like, thankfully, Hollywood isn't filled with crippled actors. And I say that, thankfully, not like I would be against crippled actors getting opportunities to work in Hollywood. I mean, thankfully, it doesn't seem like, all that many people are crippled. Some are, and it's terrible. And that's why it's a handicap. And that's why if you want the right actor for the role, chances are he's not really going to be paralyzed from the waist down or suffering, as in the case of Daniel Day-Lewis, from severe, was it like palsy or something? Gay men have been playing straight men for years in Hollywood movies. That's our cause. Hey, Byron, Jeff Ballard, this is perfect. Byron, you two are my lieutenants on this. We're going to start a cause where we're going to be outraged and we're going to gin a whole people up about the fact that gay men for centuries have been portraying straight men in movies. Why can't you hire a straight man? See what happened? We just went full circle. No. If it's a straight character in a movie, if the character in the movie is straight, you cannot hire a gay man to play it. Are these the new rules? Are these the new Jew face rules? Because if these are the new rules, let's do it. Let's really make sure that we are doing everything authentically and without any intentional or unintentional harm coming to some subjected group. So sick of it. It's acting, people. This is the same argument as it's comedy. Leave the comedy club if it's not your kind of comedy, but don't try and shut people up. Hi, how are you? I'm doing good today. Interesting little story here coming out of New Mexico. Rust, Alec Baldwin and Rust. Remember Rust? Rust is the movie. Rust is the movie that we all need to watch. We all need to see it. It's the movie. It's the little independent movie where Adam Baldwin was the star of My Bodyguard. Alec Baldwin. Adam Baldwin, interestingly enough, not one of the Baldwin brothers, even though his name begins with an A, and you would think Adam, Alec, Alfred, I don't know, Alan. Is there an Alan? I don't know. Whatever. We all got to go see Rust, or at least we all got to get it on pay-per-view. It's not going to be in theaters. This has one of those movies that's like now available to download. This has one of those kind of movies all over it. But we all got to do it. We all got to do it. Why? Why do we got to do? I ain't gonna watch no Alec Baldwin. You got to watch it because the kid of the dead mom is an executive producer and gets back-end profits. So we need to make sure that this movie makes a lot of money so that kid is taken care of. That's all. That's why I'm going to watch it. If it costs, $2.99 to rent or something, I'll rent it for $2.99. Kid's mama got killed. Come on. And that was that was the deal. The kid was written in as an executive producer and he gets back-end points on the film. Should the film make money, the kid will be taken care of. So let's make sure the kid is taken care of. That's the only reason I'm saying to watch it. Hell, you can just pay the $10 or $2, whatever it is, and you can leave the room. Just pay it and you don't have to watch it. You don't have to invest 2 hours of your life. It might be a shit movie. I don't know. But at least, the kid's going to get the money. So last April, they dropped all charges against Alec Baldwin. And now, because of some new developments in the case, they could bring charges back. They could at the time that the charges were dismissed, the DA said, well, we do reserve the right upon further investigation to issue new charges. And that is now a possibility. It's not because of any new evidence. Look, okay. Alec Baldwin's a very polarizing figure. I understand this. Alec Baldwin is an incredibly front and center, in your face about his politics. And that turns a lot of people off, yours truly included. But Alec Baldwin is undeniably an interesting character and a talented guy. Jack Donaghy on 30 Rock is one of the funniest characters, right? We were just talking about, who were we talking about earlier? I said has to be a top 5 character in TV of all. Jack Donaghy's another one of my favorites. I don't know if he's an actual top 5, but he's one of my favorites. So people have an opinion about Alec Baldwin, and as it pertains to this situation on the set of Rust that happened 2 years ago now, maybe almost 2 years ago. Of course, we know the story. They were filming. Alec Baldwin had a gun. He was aiming it. He shot. The gun went off. There was an actual bullet in the gun. There wasn't supposed to be a bullet because, it's a movie acting. And the gun goes off and it kills Elena Hutchins, who was the cinematographer, and it grazed Joel Souza, something like that, the director. Director survived. Unfortunately, beautiful young Elena did not. And that's why I say, come on, she's got a little baby boy. He's going to get back end money on this. Let's make sure that we at least see this movie because it's a tragedy. And that's how I see it. I see it as a tragedy. Why do I see it as a tragedy? Because I'm a normal person. Because I'm normal, because I'm not just broken, because I'm not just, I don't take what I wish to be reality and then verbalize it and put it out there and hope that it becomes so. And I'm talking about you people who, just because you hate Alec Baldwin, you think he woke up in the morning and went, I'm going to fucking kill that cinematographer. That's stupid, man. Every reasonable mind knows that this was a terrible accident. Now, you might want some vengeance. You're like, hey, we're here. Let's charge him. That's fine. I understand that. But in your heart of hearts that, because, you see it with a lot of people. Alec Baldwin is a cold-blooded murderer. Come on, that's not true. That's not true. You really think that he went, I know this gun is loaded and I'm going to aim it right at her. And I'm going, no, of course not. Come on. So be reasonable. So anyway, that's the thing. You can hate him, and you probably already hated him years before this story ever became a thing. You already hated him, and this was just something that laid in your lap, and you're like, yeah, now let's put him in jail. But really? Do you really think that's the intent? He's a murderer. Don't look. I'm not even looking at the chat room, because if anyone in the chat room is going, no, he did. He wanted to murder her. I'm like, nope, I can't be your friend. So I'm not looking at the chat room because I don't want to see anybody saying that kind of stuff. Because that's just silly. It's just, you're not a reasonable person. Yes, he might be. I think he's probably an arrogant, condescending piece of garbage D-bag. Funny as Jack Donaghy, right? I can separate the art from the artist. I don't think he killed this woman, and I don't think you do either. Even if some of you want it to be true, I think you know. Anyway, what is the new development? Well, the new development is that the armorer, remember she's the girl, the little stoner chick who's like, yeah, man, my job is that I play with guns for movies. Like she's got kind of a cool job, but it's like a character job. Like she's a character. You know what I mean? Like she's not like just a totally forgettable chick. That's her job. Yeah, man, I do guns for Western movies. Like she's interesting and, you know, she's probably got tattoos. You know, she's like an interesting chick. They're putting it all on her. And maybe rightfully so. I mean, it can be a tragic accident brought about by somebody's incompetence. And when we get to that situation where the tragic accident occurred because of one person's incompetence, not deliberate action, not by malice on the part of this person, but just by simple incompetence, I can't rile myself up to the demand for vengeance, you know. So that's why I say just see the movie. This is a terrible situation for everybody. I don't really know that anybody needs to go to jail. I don't think that there was any malicious or murderous intent on the part of anybody. And the only way that this thing has any kind of an ending that would make any of us sleep better at night is if we know that this little kid gets some money. So what they were able to prove in the case of the armorer this week, is that charges against Alec Baldwin could be refiled as forensic report shows trigger on gun used in rush shooting had to be pulled. Now, why is this important? Because one of the charges against the armorer was that this was a malfunction in the gun and that she had been derelict in her duties as the armorer to keep up the maintenance and make sure that all the guns were working. They were trying to paint a picture. Like I said, they're going to put everything on her. They're trying to make it look like she's totally incompetent. So what this new forensics test says, it came back and said, no, the gun's perfect working order. It was fired perfect. It didn't accidentally go off. The hammer was cocked and the trigger was pulled. Now, what this means is that, you know, they no longer can say, well, she's just so widely incompetent at her job that this is just enough. So they got rid of that. So the gun was working fine. So now it had to have been pulled. The trigger had to have been pulled. And the DA is now going, well, now we could bring charges if we investigate and find out that he pulled it on purpose. So that's what this story is about. But a lot of people who hate Alec Baldwin are like, he's got to get charged. No, he's not. He's not. But I can see how you could write this headline for this new piece of very real news. The forensics came back and said that the gun was in perfect working order. Therefore, the armorer isn't incompetent and everything can't be blamed on her. That's a legitimate story. But, you know, the headline makes it seem like Alec Baldwin's going to be charged again. No, this just simply opens a window that if they find something to charge him with, that, yeah, he must have pulled the trigger, because that's what the forensics said. Very complicated, but it's also a stupid story designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to gin up those people that I talked about at the start of this. Those people who just hate Alec Baldwin and they want to believe that he just went, I'm going to murder someone today and get away with it. Come on. Guy's a D-bag and a narcissist and a condescending elitist, but not that. Let's see what else. Oh, here's a good story. Oh, folks, when are we going to have this national conversation on a subject that I think is long overdue? And that is, of course, violence in the furry community. We've been sweeping it under the rug. We've been ignoring it. We've seen the dismembered cotton bunny tails laying in the gutter and wondered what happened there. So furries, they're weird. We know what furries are, right? Furries are people who choose. This is a choice. They live in the same world with you and me. And they go outside. Like right now, what is it? Stupid fingerprint. So they go outside. It's 92. It's 92. 92 degrees outside. They go outside. It's 92. By the way, 92, can we just say 92 degrees at 2:15? Holy cow. How nice is this? Do you know that there was a point yesterday last night where it was 79 degrees. Yeah, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I like hit my phone and I looked at the temperature. I'm like, what is it outside? And it was 79 degrees. I was like, oh my God. So yesterday, I think the high was only what, like 96, 97, something like that. So yesterday would have been the first day around these parts that we have been under triple digits in probably 2 months. And it felt so nice. Like I was outside on the back porch yesterday. I haven't been outside on the back. Why would you? It's a hair dryer. You walk outside and it's like super hot. I was outside on the back porch. The dog was wanting to spend more time outside. And right now, here we are, middle of the day, 92 degrees. 92 degrees on August the 16th here in beautiful North Texas. Let me just see what we can expect, because that's great news. 92 degrees today. That is amazing news. Let's see it's going to be 108 on Thursday. Okay. I'm not kidding. 108. Today the high 95. Tomorrow the high 107. That's it. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow the high 107. Friday the high of 108. Saturday the high of 108. Sunday the high of 107. Monday the high of 106. All right. So all this is a tease. This is just like a little tease that we've had a couple of days where it was like in the 90s. Still hot. 90s in Chicago when I'm a kid. If it was 97 degrees in Chicago, we're like, someone call and check on grandma. Make sure she's still alive. Here it's like, woo! We can all go back outside again. So there's violence in the furry communities. As I was saying, they exist in the same world as you and me. They go out, 92 degrees. They put on that big old helmet. Furries are people who dress like Six Flags mascots or Great America or Disney World or whatever. You know, you go to the basketball team mascots. You know, they wear the uniform, not the uniform, it's a big helmet. It's usually like a giant cartoon bear or something. Those are furries, in case you didn't know. And these are not mascots. Although I don't know what they do in their day jobs. Maybe some of them are. Wouldn't that be a nice way to sort of balance your work and play life? So, like Benny the Bull. Like I come from Chicago. Benny the Bull is our mascot. We love Benny the Bull. Benny the Bull has been the team mascot for the Chicago Bulls. Benny the Bull was hoisting trophies with Jordan. We love Benny the Bull. But like, what if Benny the Bull in his spare time was like Benny the Bull in the furry community? Oh, he'd probably be like a king. No, let's be honest. The San Diego chicken is probably the god, the Buddha of the Allah, the Lord Jesus, or whatever you want to call it, of the furry community. I mean, the furry community is a community of weird, messed up teenagers and young people. And that's really what they are. Oh no. What if now there's like people my age who are furries? Ugh. And they dress up and they go out in public and they dress like this and they rent hotel rooms and they have weird furry sex. Sex is a big part of this thing. No, it's not. It's just an expression of who I am. By hiding? You're hiding who you are. You are not a giant polka dotted panda. I don't know. What do you mean this is an expression of who you are? That's not you. So it's a bit. That's fine. You know what? I love weird people. I think weird people should be allowed to be weird. They provide us free entertainment on the streets every day. Let weird people be weird. It's fun. As long as weird people don't get scary, then, weird scary is not good. Jeffrey Dahmer is weird scary, right? Weird fun is Andy Dick, right? That's, not quite as bad. That's it. Those are your only two choices. Jeffrey Dahmer, weird, scary, or you can be weird, fun like Andy Dick. Although I also think Andy Dick could be weird, irritating. But anyway, these furry people are strange, very strange. So a situation occurred where like a couple hundred furries got together on the beach in California. Why? Because what better place to be when you're in a giant Winnie the Pooh costume than the beach? So this went down. We got some video. So here's what happened. I'll tell you the story. So a bunch of furries we're just going to say it, whimsically frolicking on the beach. That seems to be, good words to use to describe what furries do. They're whimsically frolicking on the beach there in Southern California. And there's some dude standing there filming them. Like just a dude, a civilian, if you will, wearing, cargo shorts and a t-shirt. And he's holding up his phone and he's just filming the furries. The furries are, again, whimsically frolicking. again, sand, dude. I don't go to the beach because I can't bring my gym shoes anywhere near this. This is what I hate about the beach. If I'll go to the beach once in July, and like in November, I'll still have sand in my shoes. I hate the beach, but I couldn't imagine how much of a pain in the ass it would be if I was in a giant furry suit, whimsically frolicking on the beach. So that's what they're doing. They're playing like hundreds of them, like it's a big furry. Hey, all the furries, let's get together and whimsically frolic on the beach. And they're doing it. And there's this creeper dude who's just like standing there filming them now. As it turns out, creeper dude isn't just creeper dude. He's not like me. Like, honestly, who among us wouldn't be tempted? If we were at the beach and there was like 200 furries whimsically frolicking right in front of you, are you telling me you're not going to start filming? So there had to be something more, right? Because I'm sure furries are used to being filmed because it's weird and we all have films and we all look for stuff to show our friends. Look what I saw. It's a thrill for us. So there's a backstory. The dude filming is apparently the scorned ex-boyfriend of one of the furries. So he's like, I don't know if she's the boo-boo kitty furry. I don't know what she is. But he's standing there and he's filming the furries as they frolic. And it turns out he's the ex-boyfriend of one of the furry girls who you don't even know. I mean, how do you know boys or girls? Do the outfits? Like, is it like a pink blue kind of structure? Like, pink with a bow, that's a girl. Is it like that? Or do they trans furries? Oh, someone needs to address this. Is it all right for furries? Is it all right for a male human to occupy the carcass suit? I don't know. What do we call these things? What are they? Uniform? Is it all right for a straight furry? Well, I guess his orientation doesn't matter. Can a male furry can a male human portray a female furry? That's the question. So creeper dude is filming his ex-girlfriend whimsically frolicking with her furry pals. And some problems, fight broke out. Let me show you the video. A bunch of furries. You want to watch a bunch of furries stomping on a poor dude? Oh, for crying out loud. All right, I can never. Hold on. Nope. Got a lot of pop-ups here. Bizarre moment. Man is attacked by furry after he's caught filming fetish group in Huntington Beach. 2 people in black wolf costumes got into an altercation in Huntington Beach on Saturday after a man who was recording them refused to leave. The incident, which was caught on video, happened at a Sunset Beach bonfire fur meet, F-U-R-M-E-E-T, fur meet, where hundreds of furries were out in full force. It appeared to start after a man was filming the group and his phone had his phone in one of the faces of the members. Here, let me find you the story. A fight broke out at a furries meetup when a man was caught filming members of the group at a California beach. Show me the video. I don't know where the video is. Come on. All right. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Hold on. You can't. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I am sorry. We're not going to see the video. I'm going to have to just show you still photos. The video, which was up this morning, came from a person's Twitter feed. And that person in the last couple of hours seems to have blocked it now, taken it down, unavailable to see. It's too bad. It was crazy. It was a crazy video of a creeper dude getting beat up by a bunch of people in suits. So instead, we're just going to look at the pictures. There you go. Look at the fancy wolf costume here. Watch this. All right, there you go. All right, so the guy on the left, I don't know, right here. So the guy on the left is the guy that was the creeper who is just standing there like filming. The guy on the right is apparently a wolf. I don't know if he's a pirate wolf, Like, I guess that's a wolf head. We can't really see. He's got a megaphone. He's holding a megaphone in front of his face. He seems to have some kind of a pirate hat. He's wearing like a pirate jacket with like a blue belted sash. He's like a pirate wolf. I'd like to have a conversation with him. I'd like to know what his concept is for this whole character. All right, let's see. So there they are. They're screaming at each other. He's saying, you got to leave. And Creeper guy's going, no, I'm not going to leave. Now Wolfman charges at him. All right, see there? There's the Wolfman. He's charging at him. Look at these weirdos. See, this is what we're talking about. Look at these weirdos. It's just weird. I'm not judging. Well, maybe I am. Am I judging? No, because you have to then assume that I think weird is a negative or a pejorative. I don't. I say, look at these weirdos, and you think, why are you being mean? And I'm like, how do you know how I mean weird? Why do you think weird automatically means bad? Why is that a negative? But look at these weirdos. Stick with that. Look at these weirdos. Oh, man. What is so hot? And this dude, you suck. Look at the dude wearing a T-shirt and like khaki shorts. He's just got the helmet. He's just got that dude sucks. I hate that guy. He's the guy that goes to the Halloween party, who just wears like a mask. He's wearing normal clothes. He just got a mask because Halloween is stupid. He's that guy. He wants to be a part. Look at this idiot. This guy is probably so awkward. These are the only friends he has. This guy right here. This is the guy I'm talking. These are the only friends he's capable of getting. And he's totally not into the scene or the lifestyle. But because he wanted to go to the party, he's wearing the helmet. There you have it. Anyway, they beat up a guy. A bunch of furries beat up a guy for being a creeper. Do you need to know anymore? I don't think you do. I think that's pretty much covered it. Violence in the furry community. It's a very real thing. All right, there's a bunch of new causes that we have to get on. What was the first one? I know one of them is we got to make sure that no gay man is ever given an acting role where he portrays a straight man, right? That's one thing. We got to stay on that. We cannot allow straight actors to lose, because if we're doing this, if you're non-Jews can't play Jews, non-crippled can't play crippled and retarded. Dustin Hoffman played someone with severe. Why didn't they just cast someone who actually was a Rain Man? You see how absurd this argument is? Because a person who is actually a Rain Man probably wouldn't be able to hit their marks. See, that's what's good about Dustin Hoffman. See, he's actually a trained actor, and he can basically come up with a rough facsimile of what it's like to be autistic or whatever it was that he had. I don't know. All right, so we got that one. So moving forward, we've got to do that. And violence in the furry community. What did we have? Do we have one there? Yeah, we've got to stay vigilant on that. We've got to cover. We're not going to do anything about it. Don't get me wrong. We don't care. As a matter of fact, maybe that's it. We encourage violence in the furry community because that's fun. Don't you want to see like a 200-person brawl between a bunch of Yogi Bears? That'd be awesome. All right, moving on. And we're running out of time here today. I hope you've enjoyed the super expanded 2.5-hour live stream of consciousness. The final thing we're going to talk about today is it's been announced, the new season of American Horror Story, season 12, starting in September, which, I'm like, aren't we in a writer's strike? I thought we weren't supposed to get any of these new shows. Well, apparently this was created before the strike, and so it's just been in the can, as they say, so it's ready to go for its normal. The 12th season of American Horror Story. Don't know if you guys like this anthology series. I have a very strange relationship with this anthology series. The strange relationship is that I figured out, and we are now rolling into season 12. I have figured out that every other season is good. For me. Now, I know people who love this show. First season, House. Fantastic. Second season, I think, was Asylum. Didn't like it. Third season was like Was it the one with the witches or something? I don't know. It was good. And then fourth season, it's like the carnival people, not good. Anyway, they're on a weird little, and I think season 12 has Kim Kardashian as one of the stars. And don't roll your eyes. Don't roll your eyes. This is Ryan Murphy. He's one of the most successful television creators of the last 20 years of television. This guy is the golden touch. He did Dahmer. He did People versus O.J. Simpson. He did Glee. He did Nip Tuck. He's awesome. So he's got Kim Kardashian in there. He made what was the one Hotel, American Horror Story Hotel, like maybe it was season 4 or something, where he cast Lady Gaga as the Queen Vampire, and she was awesome. And it was stunt casting. I know that I was tuned in. I was like, man, what's Lady Gaga gonna do as like the Queen Vampire? And she was awesome in it. So I'm sure he's going to have Kim Kardashian do something. She's going to be good. Nothing that he ever done. Now, here's the problem that I have with American Horror Story and Ryan Murphy. I like Ryan Murphy. He's good. He's good. But this is the series that I think he delves into his own personal sort of peccadillos, if you will. I have described certain aspects of American Horror Story to be like gay horror porn. And it really is true. You think when you watch these scenes, I'm like, okay, so is this appealing to the 13-year-old girl who typically loves horror? No, I don't think so. Is this appealing to me? No, this isn't appealing to me. How would I describe it? Almost like a sexually sexually charged blood and gore slaughter fest thing. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Sometimes Ryan Murphy in American Horror Story, he goes down that path and I'm just like, I don't like it. That's just too disturbing. And I'm not saying that like the gay part is what's disturbing. I'm saying the sort of combination of sexuality and gore and blood. It's all very disturbing to me. And I always marvel at the idea that the very same guy who creates some of this stuff that I am not a shrieking violet. I am somebody who can pretty much take anything, but I'm a bit disturbed by some of the imagery that I've seen Ryan Murphy create for American Horror Story. I'm always amazed at the fact that the same guy who can do that did Glee. That's a schizo. That dude is like in 2 different places. He's doing Glee. Like, this is the guy who's famous for Glee, but he's also famous for having, a dude in a rubber gimp suit sodomizing people with a butcher knife. Like, that's the same thing. Like, Glee guy wrote that same weird rubber gimp suit scene. So all I'm saying is, remember, folks, I tell you, I'm not good at anything. I'm good at mini golf. I'm really good at mini golf. They will write poems about me. I am really good at mini golf. Terrible at real golf. Mini golf, good. I'm good at mini golf, and I'm good at judging people. I'm good at sizing people up. I'm good at like meeting you, having a couple of words with you, and then I got a pretty good idea about how I feel about you. I'm very instantaneous with that, and I'm almost always right. When I look at Ryan Murphy, when I hear him, and when I look at what he did with Glee, and then I look at what he did with American Horror Story, I can tell you that I go, yeah, I'm watching you. I see you, Ryan Murphy. You got some stuff going. You got some scary stuff going on in your head. You're putting on an act. You're not real. Who's the real you? By the way, yesterday after the show, I went through a whole bunch of those great memes. I've got my poetry. The lady who we talked about yesterday. What was her name? Like Tiffany Gomas or something? Was that her name? The girl that got kicked off the flight. That MFer is not real. I went yesterday and I sort of indulged myself. I watched a whole bunch of those memes. People are so good. Like, people are so creative. There are just some really funny things that were done with that. Yeah. Can I get you to tip the show? Can I get you to drop a little something there in the tip jar? Something in the Cash App? Something in the Venmo? It sure would help. Thank you. Only if you approve of what we do. To see me through the lonely nights. Help me to be strong. Help me to be strong. I am like the dancing bear, trained to be the best. trying to be the best. Never-ending quest. Tonight, 9 o'clock, Radio Misfits, myself, James Parker, E. We're going to get together. We're going to talk about some things. I think today we're going to go into Shock Jocks. Shock Jocks was a thing I wanted to talk about yesterday. We ran out of time. We had a good show last night. Another good show. Those Radio Misfits shows, man, they've been good. Just three dudes chopping it up, whatever the issues are. Typically, I'm bringing the issues. I think that's kind of how it's becoming. I think James can have, like, you know, whatever platform he wants if he's got something. But I think the way that the show is organically turning into is almost like a round table, or I'm sort of like at the head of the round table and I throw a topic out and then we all discuss it and chop it up. We were going to talk about shock jocks. There's shock jocks are being discussed out there in the wider world. And I certainly have a few thoughts on shock jockery, having been one. And so I think we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the phenomenon of the shock jocks from the 1990s. We're going to list a whole bunch of names of people and things that they've done that you're maybe unfamiliar with. So we'll get into all that tonight at 9 o'clock. A tribute to shock jockery tonight on Radio Misfits with myself, James Parker, and E. 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way. I got nothing else. I'm trying to think. I'm like, why am I hanging around? Do I have anything else that I want to add? Yeah, here, question for you. Is it Nevada or Nevada? There you go. Think about that until 9 o'clock. So baffling to some. Did you hear what I said? You ever think about that? Is it Nevada or Nevada? Because I do this game whenever somebody says Nevada. Like if somebody goes, yeah, so I think that's up in Nevada. Like the game that I play with people is if they say Nevada, I go, you mean Nevada? And then if they say Nevada, I say, you mean Nevada? It's like, so I don't know, which is it? And now I had a conversation with somebody last night. And then it came up. I'm like, so which is it? Is it Nevada or is it Nevada? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever you say to me, I'm going to give you back the second one. I want to try that again with the Caribbean and Caribbean, but I don't have many conversations where that word comes up, where people are like, yes, we're going to the Caribbean. You mean Caribbean? Kind of fun I have in my daily life. No guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401. I don't have the greed. All right. I'm going. I love you guys. We'll see you tonight at 9 o'clock and back here tomorrow at noon for more High Noon Report with me, Pugs Moran. Back. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.